White House correspondent Nancy Cortez. Suspect tied to a fire at the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro could appear in court as soon as Wednesday after prosecutors postponed today's arraignment. Authorities say 38-year-old Cody Balmer is currently hospitalized for a medical event not connected to the Sunday incident. Balmer allegedly planned to beat the governor with a hammer if he found him. Balmer is accused of scaling a fence early Sunday morning, breaking into the home with the same hammer and setting fire to parts of the mansion.
Police have not said at this point whether there's a clear motive. They did, though, release an affidavit, and in that affidavit, they say that Balmer said that he was harboring hatred for the governor and that he wanted to beat the governor with a hammer.
Suspect faces multiple charges, including arson and attempted murder. Back here, state Senate Democratic leaders have sent a letter to the Department of Labor asking if it is prepared for any economic downturn and subsequent job losses. That letter asks Commissioner Dante Bartolomeo if the agency's systems have been stress tested and whether they have any staffing contingency plan in place for a spike in any potential jobless claims. Senate President Martin Looney connects the dots between the situation and the crafting of the state's next two-year budget.
We should have an emergency declared quite soon, that we really should see that we are going to be in crisis mode for the foreseeable future, that we need to
check 157
reserve fund
How you doing?
as well as our
all right, and yourself
Ready to go.
funding surplus.
yeah
Really opposed to that idea. Governor Lamont hasn't been a big fan of it either, but has recently acknowledged it is a possibility in the state's toolbox.
I'm still sleepy.
Due before midnight Wednesday morning.
I got more than enough rest, but I'm still tired for some reason.
WTIC's Dave Maker.
Commissioner of Revenue Services.
Wore myself out bowling all weekend.
Incentive
How'd
to
you
file
do?
those taxes.
We want to give you your money. People are going to get a refund.
Let's just say I had one good day and one bad day.
Days. If there's a delay, it could be related to their extensive
Was the bad
fraud
day
detection
after
unit.
the good day?
It's working to make
Yes, it was.
That's the only way you can look at it. Right? Bad day completely
It's just
cancels
a
out the
little
good
longer to
day.
get your refund back because something.
The good thing about it was I did good. I did good at the highest paying tournament, and I did bad at the
as a question. It will
just a local
not over the
whatever tournament.
Use the reminder.
I mean, it still was first place $1,000, but
Right.
Dave Maker.
it wasn't
It was a success
first place 3,500.
for the all-female crew of a Blue Origin spaceflight today. Correspondent Peter King.
CBS Morning's Gail King has been to space, but when it comes to calling her an
And when I say bad, we finished.
Except that word.
It was the trios on Sunday. We finished in sixth. I believe we finished in sixth place, and they paying the top 21.
Quiet when you get up there. It's quiet, peaceful.
So I just didn't do good my first game.
From.
Gotcha.
And it
First game was trash.
reminder about how we need to do better, be better.
Peter King, CBS News.
WTIC News Time is 3:05. Checking traffic. Looks like we got a crash working in Southington. The 84 eastbound exit 28 on-ramp. That is closed because of a reported crash. Still some leftover road work in Hartford. 91 north in the area of 29A in downtown. You got the left lane closed with that. And we've got some late running work in Fairfield County, the Parkway specifically, southbound between 46 and 44 in the no exit zone there. The right lane is closed. Meteorologist
Vermont thing was fire though. It was probably like 100 and some people up there. There's only like 9 black folks, and we was 5 of them.
And drizzled a little.
But man, that's the thing, man. People don't be realizing they be so focused on the racial stuff. Certain places you go to, and it was all love up there. We was all laughing, joking, eating,
Mostly cloudy.
and had a great time. And I bowled extremely well up there. So
Day, sunny, breezy, warmer. We're going to kick off that warming.
I know racism still exists, but sometimes
Day,
it's not where people think it is.
high up to 63.
Oh, I try to tell
Cloudy,
people that all the
breezy,
time.
And warmer as we head into the weekend Saturday, though there'll still be a couple of showers around, but the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, 67, partly sunny, we'll call it, in Hartford. Markets up this Monday. The Dow ahead 477 points. NASDAQ's up 208. S&P's up 70. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. For over 3 decades, Cordell & Cordell has been on the front lines of family law. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Hartford area attorneys. Phyllis McCutcheon, licensed in Connecticut. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Hard work and dreams lead to success, but easily filing your taxes with TurboTax and Credit Karma doesn't hurt either. Make filing taxes a walk in the park, because we'll pre-fill your info for you so you can file quickly and confidently. Winner! Get the peace of mind that comes with expert help. Let's go! Being powered by TurboTax means you're backed by the leading tax preparer, and we'll show you all your filing options up front so there are no surprises. File your taxes on Intuit Credit Karma today. Expert help not available with all products. Guarantee details available at turbotax.com/guarantee.
Men, is good enough really sex life? This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And if erectile dysfunction is making for a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us, because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and for the one you love. At Northeast Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. For just $99, you'll get a medical consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio.
Reese is on the radio. Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. It's Monday. And I want to begin, one, by welcoming you back. Thank you for returning to the Reese on the Radio show right here on News Talk 1080 WTIC. A newfound look on life from your humble host. I really do mean that. In the 4 o'clock hour, I am going to break down what has to be described as a weird and quite exciting Saturday and Sunday off. And I know there are going to be some people who are going to be very proud of me. There were some other people who are going to call me a hypocrite. There are going to be some people who are going to go, oh, that's great. And some people are going to be like, you sellout. And I accept all of them. I do. I'm going to accept all of them. And I will take your calls today at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I did not watch the Masters, but congratulations to Rory McIlroy, who I incidentally spoke up on Friday's show. I was talking to Craig in the car, my good friend, and we were talking about, he was saying how important this Masters was going to be, and he had talked about how many epic failures there have been, people who were surefire winners who then imploded during play. And Rory McIlroy, I happened to mention. I said, Rory, I remember that match. He was on pace to win it all, and then everything went haywire. Turns out the same thing happened this time, but he won. Congratulations to him, the young man. And you have to ask yourself whether or not golf is making that man old beyond his years, because he ain't 40. And that man's got the Reed Richards gray hair on the side. So, Rory, whoo, buddy, take a break for a little while. Take a break. You know, maybe get some Just for Men. coat that thing up on the sidelines. Rory, you should not have grazed in that capacity at such an early rate. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, John. He almost imploded. It looked like we were going to see a repeat.
Nah, he did implode. He just was up so much that
exactly he had enough cushion.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I didn't get to it. Everybody said it was great. It was a great ending. Look, I'm not going to lie. The Masters is one of those last sports events where no matter, I was watching it at a restaurant, a pizza place, watching Rory, and who else was it? I got to look at a couple other people. They'll come to me because I wrote them down. We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's right. Craig said that it was the Super Bowl. And it was that amazing. I watched a lot of highlights from it. Jim Nantz is getting some criticism for some of the spectating that he did during that. We'll talk about that. And everybody, if you want to call in and talk about the Masters, please do. What was I going to say? Oh, my weekend. You may have seen that I posted a video because I went to a museum for trains, model trains. And I've always loved trains. As you know here, I've talked about it. But the one thing I never tell anybody is that how much I love model trains. And I am crazy about them. And when I was a kid, when the model train used to burn up, it has this distinct smell. Those of you who've had model trains, you know. They had this distinct smell when they burned or they were running too much power. And they had this smell. It was intoxicating. I just went up to every train that was on the track, and I would just put my face up against it and just see if I could get that old childhood scent back. Oh. I was like an addict. It was weird. A lot of great stuff. Also, I took up a hobby. I finally found a hobby, and I think I'm going to stick to it. And it's a childhood hobby of mine. I haven't done it in a long time. We'll talk about that as well, so stick around for it. It's going to be a great Monday show, I promise you. But first, I want to get into today's opening monologue. And today's opening monologue has to deal with the question we've been asking since the election. Who is the leader of the Democrat Party? Many people have been wondering. Many people have thrown some names around. There's been some impromptu polling data to suggest who is the leader of the party. Many people say it's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, commonly known as AOC. Some people believe that it's sister girl, Jasmine Crockett in Tubbs. Many people say, it's still kind of Barack Obama, but I'm here to tell you, folks. No, John Beckman, it is not Satan. But close. The leader of the Democrat Party is none other than, should I do it? Yeah, here we go. Bernie Sanders. He is the leader of the Democrat Party, not the titular, not the de facto. He is the leader of the party. He gets crowds. Forget about Coachella. That's something different. He gets the crowds, paid or not, but he gets the crowds. They love the way he talks. He's a character. He says the same thing over and over and over again, and they love him. And he is exactly what Democrats want. Even though they lost the election on the same nonsense, they still want to promote the same nonsense. Let me give you an example. If you got any of the Coachella speech, maybe you didn't, I want to ask a question to Democrats. Why is the leader of the Democrat Party singing the same old song that he's always sang? And the things that lost you the election. Listen for yourself.
We need you to stand up to fight for justice. To fight for economic justice, social justice, and racial justice.
You tried that. You tried all of that. It got you nowhere. Your party is already for that.
Now we got a president of the United States who, I agree, he thinks that climate change is a hoax.
Climate change? What are you talking about, climate change? Are you still trying to drag climate change over the finish line? Your people are burning Teslas. Like the champion of climate change. The electric car, the most popular electric car, your people are burning to the ground. Climate change?
He is dangerously wrong. And you and I are going to have to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and tell them to stop destroying this planet.
Yeah, the Coachella kids, the kids who paid thousands of dollars to get into that ridiculous concert. That's who he's preaching to. The same old nonsense he's been talking about forever. The same old nonsense that Bernie Sanders has been talking about since 1993. I'm not kidding, folks. Since 1993, Bernie Sanders has been talking the same idiocy. Especially the tour that he's on now. It's called Fight the Oligarchy. Again, since 1993. And I want you to take notice of something, folks. 1993 was 32 years ago. 1993 was 32 years ago. Now, I want you to take that year and I want you to inject the word rapidly. If something was starting in 1993 and had not happened yet in 33 years, no one should use the word rapidly when talking about the oligarchy. Rapidly becoming an oligarchy would take at least 10 years, hell, maybe 5. But I figured it out. Oligarchy is the new climate change. They keep saying it's coming, but it isn't coming. Here's Bernie Sanders in 1993 all the way up to 2025. 1993.
This great country of ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy.
1994.
The United States of America today is increasingly becoming an oligarchy.
1995.
More and more moving toward an oligarchy.
2007.
We are moving in the direction of oligarchy.
2012.
We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy.
2014.
This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society.
2015.
It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward.
2017.
This is a budget that moves our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy.
2018.
A handful of billionaires are moving this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
2025.
You start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad, and that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
Rapidly. Moving to an oligarchy is taking 32 years to rapidly become an oligarchy. This is the leader of the Democrat Party. Not Chris Murphy. $8 million notwithstanding, that's not it. This is the party that is going to lead them. They're going to lead everybody into a win in 2028. Remember, the things that they care the most about: racial justice, social justice, climate justice. They want all of these things. Oh, and don't think that they're going to get away from The transgender issue, no. Listen to Charlotte Clymer. He's a trans activist. He says Democrats can't run away from the trans issue because science is on their side. I'm not kidding.
According to polling, most Americans believe they don't personally know a trans person, which makes it a lot easier to be bystanders when the trans community is attacked. The second thing, of course, is that only one party is really talking about trans issues. It's the Republican Party. They've made trans issues one of their central topics in campaigning and the national discourse, what have you. The more the Democrats ignore this, the more it's going to come back to haunt us in future elections. Republicans are not going to let up on this. They're not going to leave it alone. They're not going to stop this, and we're going to suffer. And here's what I find ironic about all this. It's very easy to fight back on trans issues. The science is on our side. Every credible medical organization has come out and endorsed gender-affirming care and said that the trans military ban is ridiculous and unnecessary.
So they're never going to let it up. Now, I said this a long time ago, and many of you who listen to my podcast famously know that I said that Democrats are tethered to these ideas. They cannot abandon them. They sent out their rabid dogs without a leash. And now, in order to keep them in the fold, they do not spay and neuter them. They do not train them. They are now at their pretty much beholden to them. Best way to put it. They are. They radicalize them, and now they're forced. This moderation that Chris Murphy talks about, this moderation that many others in the news media try to convey to the rabid dogs, doesn't wash. Ask Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen Whitmer shows up at the White House. Governor Whitmer shows up at the White House. Why? Because she wants to clean the water. She wants to clean the water, and she's working with the President of the United States. She jokingly puts a binder over her face. Whoo, talk about binders full of women. Puts a binder over her face as a joke. But that picture becomes a war cry for the progressive left. How dare that B word show up at the Trump White House? How dare she betray us? Presidential ambitions are over. They're dead. They're gone. Gretchen Whitmer, she's out of the loop. First they got Gavin Newsom, blow. Now they've got Gretchen Whitmer, blow. Those are the two front runners. The progressives run and rule the roost, and Bernie Sanders shall lead them. Back to what I was saying. I was the one who said this a long time ago. That the reason why the Democrats did not want Bernie Sanders to run or to be successful in 2016 is because Democrats would have to reveal who they are and what they've always been. They have not always been the slow progression of socialism. They are socialism undercover. And with a leader like Bernie Sanders, they would have to tether themselves to that ideal. They would have to reveal themselves. They have to pull off their mask. See? Socialist. Hey, look, Karl Marx. They'd have to do it. But now they have no choice. Hillary Clinton, vanquished. Kamala Harris, vanquished. Joe Biden, vanquished. What else they got? They're desperate. So now we are going to have that great divide, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have come to a place where America is going to have to decide who we are. Are we Bernie Sanders America, or are we Donald Trump's? That's going to be the future. That is what we're going to have to decide. And Bernie Sanders, he's the most milquetoast, weak-kneed candidate you can ever have. And let me give you a small trip, take a small trip down memory lane. This guy was the one in Seattle giving a speech to his constituents who had the entire event taken over by Black Lives Matter protesters came up on stage and took his microphone and demanded their time at the pulpit. Not only did Bernie give it to them, not only did he capitulate and walk off stage and end it, giving the reins to Black Lives Matter, but a day later, he put Black Lives Matter on his staff. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrat Party is dead. It's dead. And those on the left have to come to terms with it. I'll see you at the funeral. We'll be back. More news, more views, your phone calls. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I'm elder law attorney Haley O'Lear. Our greatest reward is happy clients telling us that they're very thankful for our help.
Hi, I'm Kate from Farmington. My husband had a stroke a year ago. I worked with a wonderful team of people that helped me rewrite my will and navigate the Medicaid application. They even came to our home to meet us, understand our needs, and connect us with a healthcare agency.
Find out more at AlairElderLaw.com. That's ALLAIRE.
Hi, everybody. It's Brian Green from the Commercial Break Podcast. It's likely you've heard of the show if you're directly related to me or you follow our MySpace page. But I'm not here to talk to those three listeners. I'm here to appeal to people who haven't heard the show. Along with my co-host, Kristen Joy Hoadley, we're taking a deeper look at the topics that are affecting our youth today. Like, who are the people who are dating ghosts? Where did all these pickup artists come from? And why doesn't my preacher have a nicer private jet? We understand that these are the issues you really want to get to the bottom of. The Commercial Break is now available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts.
Follow WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't miss out on important updates in Connecticut, from breaking need-to-know news, weather alerts, and more. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app. Now, there's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
And now, a WTIC News Update.
It's 3:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. 13 Yukon students have had their visas terminated. No word on why. Part of a wave of revocations of student visas across the country. They consist of a dozen current students and one Yukon alum. 2 teens are under arrest, charged with murder in Hartford. Police say 17-year-old Chevron Wilson was found shot Sunday morning. A 14 and a 16-year-old are charged now with felony murder. Pedestrian was struck and killed in Hartford over the weekend. Police say Beth Bosco was hit in her wheelchair near the overpass at Broad Street and I-84. Police say the driver is cooperating with the investigation. State Senate Democratic leaders have written to the Department of Labor to ask whether they're prepared for any impact of federal layoffs and cuts, as well as any subsequent economic downturn going forward. Men who authorities say scaled an iron security fence in the middle of the night eluded police and broke into the Pennsylvania governor's residence, where he set fire. He's now being treated at a hospital after an unrelated medical event. Authorities say Cody Balmer had planned to beat Governor Josh Shapiro with a small sledgehammer early Sunday. WTIC News time is 3:31. Now the forecast.
Partly sunny and warmer to kick off our week here on our Monday afternoon, the high up to 69. Now tonight, occasional rain and drizzle if you're going to be out and about, the low down to 48. Variably cloudy on Tuesday. We'll get a shower in spots, so keep that umbrella
You got
handy. Otherwise, breezy and still mild with the high back to 65. Tuesday night, partly cloudy, chilly, the low dropping down to 38. Then it'll be mostly cloudy, windy, and cooler on Wednesday. May feel a little chilly at times with the high of 51 and the strong west winds. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on WTIC.
All right, 67 out there in Hartford. Dow is up 462 points headed into the final half hour of trading. The NASDAQ up 191 and the S&P ahead 65. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
So, you want to buy a house. You could go online, do your research, find the dream listing, go see it, and get catfished. Back to the drawing board. More scheduling, more viewings, more. This doesn't even look like the photos. You could finally find one that does match the photos. Then comes the offer. Stress rush? Yep, make that 3. And here's the paperwork. Yep, never-ending paperwork. It's a lot. But you don't have to do it alone. Because there's an agent who's a realtor here to guide and help protect you as you find the home that's right for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Good morning, Doctor. Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Dreaming of a perfect smile? At Columbia Dental, our orthodontic experts specialize in braces and clear aligners like Invisalign. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit ColumbiaDental.com.
Life can be unpredictable at times, but you shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of someone else's negligence. If you've been in an accident or work-related injury and it's not your fault, you need a lawyer who knows how to get you the fair and just compensation. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of personal injury lawyers have over 100 years of combined experience. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer. You get a full-service law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS or visit bpslawyers.com. Bruce Newman is responsible for the content of this ad.
Slow? Clogged? Backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P10277-688, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Living with chronic joint pain is kind of like getting comfortable on a cactus sofa. You're like, what are you talking about? Well, it never feels good, and it's never going to feel good. So if you want to do something about that this spring, especially when it comes to doing the things you love, whether it be golfing, hiking, tennis, or just walking, I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Connecticut are on it, and they're focused on finally getting you the relief that you need. They've already treated thousands of patients around the country and here in Connecticut as well, whether it's your hips, knees, shoulders, back, whatever. QC Kinetics has solid science. They give your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without downtime. It's really incredible stuff, and they have 3 offices here in Connecticut, Glastonbury, New Haven, and in Avon. The consultation's totally free, so if you're sick of doing nothing, do something and talk to them. If you're thinking about doing something like surgery, call them now. 860-440-PAIN. It's 860-440-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics, located in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. That number again, 860-440-PAIN.
Seems everything.
One minute.
Gas,
Okay.
groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill?
When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at Trust and Will.
Manton.
Use offer code RADIO now for 20% off. That's trustandwill.com. Offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
I'm getting these great text messages from Mike the mailman. He's already sending me stuff on trains. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That was fantastic. And Georgia St. Louis, I haven't talked to him in a bit. I'm going to pick him up in a second. I was thinking about this earlier today. You know, I don't care that Bill Maher went to the White House. I know a lot of people were really interested in that story, but I don't care. And I'm only mentioning it for the people who do care, because I guess, you know, there are some people who's like, hey, you know, what did you think of that? I don't really care. Let me tell you why. If you watched Bill Maher's show on Friday, they had the guy from the Washington Post who was citing what the internet thought of Bill Maher's pilgrimage to the White House. I told you on my Sunday show a week ago, Bill Maher is going there because he had never been taken seriously by the people he supported. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, even Joe Biden. Never once did those folks ever invite him for a little chow down at the White House. The reason why he went is because he was never treated seriously enough. And Donald Trump, you know, being a friend to Kid Rock and to Dana White, whatever his name is, anyway, of the UFC, said, all right, you know what, I'll have him in, no big deal, and I'll go in and I'll treat him in a great manner, which Bill Maher admitted to. But it means nothing. And I'll tell you why. Bill Maher suffers from this, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump will give an olive branch to anyone. And if they take it, it only destroys their career. So Bill Maher's backlash, like, sure, there will be conservatives that will go to him now and say, well, let's see whether or not his view on Donald Trump will change even a bit, if he'll remotely be fair and balanced. That's what people are going to check on. The left, on the other hand, they will bounce. They will leave. Because Donald Trump said it best at the joint sessions.
I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, and these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what.
Because it is the policy of hating Trump, not getting things done. It has nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with the people, even their own party. It's got nothing to do with them. And these rabble-rousers you see running around on their behalf, because remember, here's the craziest thing in the world. Elected officials who are supposed to be doing the work of the people has the people doing their work for them. What type of okey doke is that? You think about it. When I see these people out there protesting, and yes, Tim, paid or not, we are watching public servants getting the public to do their job. They are not going in there working in Washington for every elected. They are grabbing people, plucking them out of society, and telling them to go march for them. What the hell did you go to the polls for? What did you pull a lever or blacken out a spot for? I like Chris Murphy. I like Dick Blumenthal. Do you think you filled out those things, that you filled out that data so that you can go out there and do the work that they're supposed to do? Come on. That's how crazy this is. That's how insane this is. So I don't care about Bill Maher going there. Bill Maher will suffer the consequences for even touching the olive branch that Donald Trump gave him, as is Gretchen Whitmer, as is Gavin Newsom. They are in it to immolate themselves, set themselves on fire. They do not care. See, Democrats don't recognize some things, and it always comes back in the wash. And I'm going to say this to you, folks, the next time you talk to a Democrat, here's something you can say to them. I'm going to call it the Reese on the Radio quote of the day. If you're a vegan, you should not eat meat. Leave the rest of us alone. If you believe in abortion, abort your baby. If you believe in reparations, pay your money in reparations. Pull a black guy off the street, hand them your cash. If you want DEI, give up your job. Find a minority and give it to them. Right now, if you believe in DEI and you've got a great, cushy job, give it up and give up your job and give it to them. That's what you should do. And when you're broke and you have no job and you have no children, and of course, the only thing you can eat is, I don't know, vegetables, and you look around and you go, Reese, what do I do now? I'm broke. I'm penniless. I will look at you and say, hey, you've always got white privilege to lean on. Go out there and use it. Now let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. George is in St. Louis. How are we doing, Georgie?
Hi, Reese. Democrats are like a bad Godzilla movie. You can't kill it. You throw gas bombs at it, bullets at it. You use hand grenades with it. And you use high voltage wires, and it doesn't die. It keeps right on going. It's like, remember those wind-up spring toys we used to all have? Yeah. And anyway, and the premise here is the toy is busted. The Democrat Party is busted, and it keeps that toy keeps right on going, and you wonder how could this thing keep jumping up and down with a busted spring?
Let me ask you this, George.
Can't kill it.
George, let me ask you this. You know, a lot of people say, I always hear Republicans say this, and they're usually moderate guys. They'll go, look, I don't mean to just bash the Democrats. We need two viable parties in our politics. I just want them to see the error of their ways. Do you feel that way at all? Because here, and I'll tell you what they're saying. They're saying that, look, if Republicans, in their ideas continue to flourish, right, they won't have anything to counter them with, right? Because if you destroy the Democrat Party, it's kind of one-party rule, so people need ideas to bounce off of. What do you think of
I'll tell you what. I'll bring in another movie.
Mm-hmm.
You remember those movies where people were caught in the swamp and you see them slowly sinking?
Yeah.
Until up to the nose and then the forehead and then they're gone.
Yeah.
That's what that's like. You're committed.
Yeah.
You're committed to the swamp. And that's what that is. Oh, I had a second part to this.
Yes.
Do you remember the Dorian Gray movies where this guy went out and killed?
I think you're my second listener to bring up the Dorian Gray movie.
He got uglier and uglier as he did more evil and evil things. The Democrat Party does evil things. It's Mao and Stalin. And all these things that the media, the ugliness, the media keeps covered up under canvas every day.
Yeah,
that's what's going on here.
You got it. Listen.
There you go.
Then you're absolutely right. I think that they don't have any ideas, and I think the the euphemism the analogy I used was quicksand. It's like, what do you do when you're stuck in quicksand? You're supposed to stand still, but Democrats are flailing around trying to get out of it, but only sinking further in,
Yeah, well, all I can say is good riddance.
I hear you, buddy. Thank you, man. Let's go to Will in Waterbury. There's a alliteration I like. How we doing, Will?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm great. What's up?
Couple quick things. you were spot on with Bernie earlier. I'm gonna go back through your archives, whatever. I'm gonna find that montage. I've got friends I want to play that for.
Okay.
That was spot on with Bernie earlier. It really, really was.
Thank you.
Now, I got a question. Whether you can answer it or not, I don't know. I know you're on the afternoons, and we love having you here in the afternoons. But you are technically filling in for somebody who used to be there before. I even forgot his name. It's been that long. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, question. Tom Shattuck, is he still with TIC, or is he
Yeah,
on
he's
vacation, or is
no.
somebody filling in?
Yeah, he's on vacation. I'm surprised no one's going to his Twitter feed or his X feed. Yeah, he's just on vacation. He's usually on vacation in the summertime, but I think he took some early time off.
Yeah, you got to do it because the ratings month doesn't come out for what, next month or something.
I think next month. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but that's good. But no, here's the thing. I'm listening to the guy. And obviously he's from an 800 number. I think he's from Georgia or whatever. But
okay.
He does a one thing filling in for Tom Shattuck.
Oh, that's it. I think the reason why is because that's what's the best way to describe that? So that's sort of like it's a fill-in. It's a syndicated fill-in as opposed to somebody who's actually sitting in the desk. You know what I mean? It's completely different. So it's actually an established show that's just filling in the time slot. That's all.
Makes sense. Rush was never in TIC's studio.
Thank you, buddy.
You know what I mean? And,
I appreciate you. Let me get to one more in here. Let's go. Tim is on his cell phone. How are you, sir?
Hey,
Tim?
Reese, how you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good, sir. What's up?
All right, so real quick backstory. I got two daughters, 11 and 16.
Okay.
When we first had a kid, we put her in daycare, and daycare was too expensive, so my wife stayed home. Now, everything's been fine, but 16 years later, we're struggling. The electric bill's so expensive.
Right.
How do we fix this? The system is broken, man.
Here's
Something has to change.
a lot of things have to change. And it's, again, you have an apparatus in this state that, again, you know how they used to say African Americans vote against their best interests or their better interests? That's what's happening in Connecticut. We are seeing, look, we should not see the level of which Connecticut is governed by one party in a granular way with everything that we know of Connecticut. What does Connecticut manage to do? This is going to be part of our stupidest thing today with the soda tax that they're, again, a soda tax that people had started in the 90s. Connecticut's thinking about doing it now, which again just shows you there are no original ideas in the Democrat Party. But this is, again, what you're talking about is 100% tantamount to the entire party. And that is why no one seems to ask the question, this doesn't help the state in any way, yet it overwhelmingly votes for it over and over and over again. And what I keep saying, and you're not allowed to say it, I'm going to tell you, Tim, they're cheating. I know they are. They have to be because look, it was the same thing I said.
That's what they do.
I said it a long time ago. There is no way. Look, I know we have wealthy people who live in Connecticut, but we have a lot of working class business owners in Connecticut. Yes, I get it. You hate Republicans. I get it. People have problems with conservatives or conservatism. But after a while, you have got to ask yourself, people like you who are just living day to day, going to your job, there's got to be more people who want to put an end to this than those who want to continue to do it. Because in my view, it's like saying they hate you.
You asked maybe a week or two ago, kind of, I'm paraphrasing, about where's all the Republicans? Where did they go?
Yeah.
They're working every day. We have
Exactly.
to go to work every day.
Exactly.
And then we have to take two jobs, and we have to work and work. We don't have time to fight. We don't have time to put up a fight.
And here's the thing. Imagine Democrats saying this, and I got to go to a break, Tim, but I want to bring this up because you make a good point. Democrats who are voting Democrat in this state or voting for these policies over and over again obviously are smart enough to understand that when you force these people out of the state and go elsewhere, the fewer people that are here, the higher taxes they'll have to be in order for it to survive. So if they're doing anything, they're voting for their own demise, and they have to know it. They have to. That's why it doesn't make sense. So I totally agree with you.
Paying more, they have to see it's getting more expensive.
And I know they do. That's why none of it makes sense, Tim, and that's why I refuse to believe that this is actually happening organically. No way it doesn't make sense.
They have blinders on, and I have to keep voting for it because that's what I do.
Exactly. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate you. Have a great week. You got it. We got to go to a break. Let's go to one real quick, and then we'll come back. More news, more views, and we return. I got a great audio bit to play with you talking about Democrats and the evilness. We'll play that when we return. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Connecticut hospitals care for more than just patients. They care for our workforce, creating 245,000 jobs. They care for our economy as the largest employer in Connecticut. They care for our communities, connecting residents to health screenings, nutritious food, and stable housing. And they care for our future, making healthcare accessible, equitable, and affordable. Connecticut hospitals create real change by caring for Connecticut. Learn more at caringforct.org.
If you're in the market for a great deal on Toyo tires, get to Town Fair Tire for your absolute best deal. Because at Town Fair Tire, you get the guaranteed lowest price on any Toyo tire. Plus, you get free services for life. And we honor all valid Toyo tire rebates. For the absolute best deal on Toyo tires, get to Town Fair Tire. Because nobody beats a Town Fair Tire deal. And I mean nobody.
Name brands at discount prices. Town Fair Tire.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Here at ALO, we believe hearing solutions to your main drain problems shouldn't cost a thing. That's why we offer free mainline drain camera inspections and free estimates on sewer line repair or replacement. Contact the trusted professionals at ALO when you call, click, or text today and say, "Hello, ALO." Call for details. Licensed for safety. P10277-688, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com. 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481.
I look at the Democrats in front of me,
Tax Relief
and I
Advocates.
Realize
Real
there is
solutions for
absolutely
real
nothing
people.
I can
It's
say.
It's Reese on the radio. Ask your doctor if common sense is right for you. Right for you. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I got this this video I was checking out, and it blew my mind. It was in D.C. at one of these rallies. And, you know, I've always believed that, you know, whenever a Republican says something, you know what the deal is, like, you got to defend what the Republican says. Well, the Republican said this, and it was outrageous. Do you defend that? And I go, no, of course I don't defend it. You know, you're not going to get me and troll me into this whole I got to defend everything that Republicans say. But since we're going there, let's go there. And look, I was a lot harsher on white liberals back in the day for good reason. But I've chilled a little bit. You know, in a lot of ways, I confront them and I have conversations with them all the time. As you know, right here on the show is proof of it. But some of them are devils. Are devils. I'm not going to lie. Are devils. And they know. They know they're devils. And I know that there are white liberals who listen to this show, and when they hear this from this guy, they cringe a little bit. And I don't blame you. These are your people.
You're saying you don't think Republicans care about black people?
Oh, yeah, they hate them. They hate them. They love using them as a cudgel.
What would you say to black Republicans?
That they're dumb. They're like the Jewish Nazis that existed back in the day. They're like gay Republicans. They're like trans.
You think Ben Carson, the doctor, is dumb?
Yeah. If you've ever seen the movie Django, you have your house, let's call them slaves. You have your house slaves, and you got your field slaves. And they pit the two groups against each other. It's very simple. Republicans, or rather, the conservative party in the South, has been using the fear of black people to suppress white people since before slavery existed. And they do it to this day. Obviously, back in the day, it was the Democrats because they were the Southern racists, and then the party flipped in the 80s, blah, blah, blah.
Remember what he said, folks, when talking about black folks.
You have your house, let's call them slaves.
Let's call them slaves.
You have your house, let's call them slaves. You have your house slaves, and you got your field slaves.
Like I said, some of them are just devils. They just are. That's how they talk about people. You know, I wouldn't call that soft bigotry. I call that hardcore bigotry. That guy's a stone cold leftist. That's a liberal. Black Republicans are dumb. Hey, you gotta handle that. You gotta handle that. Some people are saying that out loud. Let's get our first check of the weather with Jason Caterina. And, of course, our good friend Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Traffic Center. How was the weekend for you, sir?
Busy but good. Busy but good.
Oh, good. Well, I got a lot of stories for this
boy.
weekend. I did a lot. I have a new hobby, and it's a physical hobby that you are not going to believe. A physical hobby.
That's good. You got to keep physically fit, Reese. So that's a good thing. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, you've got delays a half mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge up to 48 Asylum. Southbound 91, look for delays 34 down to 32A and B. Easy ride 91 northbound, Cromwell up into Windsor. No problems. 291 384 east of the river. 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. If you're heading into Middletown, a little slow at the Aragoni Bridge. 91 southbound, a little tight as you move between 19 and 17 on southbound 91 in Meriden. Waterbury looks good, 84 and 8, 84 eastbound in Newtown slowing by 11. South 95 New Haven tight 46 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8 WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly sunny and warmer to kick off the week on our Monday afternoon. The high moving up to 69 today. Then tonight, occasional rain and drizzle. The low down to 48. Variably cloudy with a shower in spots on Tuesday. It'll be breezy. The high still 65 for us, so still quite mild. Partly cloudy. It'll be chilly Tuesday night with the low dropping down to 38. Now cooler as we make our way in the midweek. Mostly cloudy day Wednesday. Windy too. The high down to 51. Thursday, sunny, breezy, warmer. We're going to kick off that warming trend that'll last right into the weekend. The high moving up to 58 on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy but milder with the high up to 63. Cloudy, breezy, and warmer as we head into the weekend Saturday, though there'll still be a couple of showers around, but the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
4 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. 2 teenagers are under arrest in connection with Hartford's 5th homicide of the year. Story from WTIC's Morgan Cunningham.
Hartford police are charging the 2 teens with felony murder and other offenses in the death of another teen Sunday. The 14-year-old and 16-year-old allegedly gunned down 17-year-old Hartford resident Chevron Wilson around 11:15 in the morning Sunday near Wethersfield Avenue and Barker Street. Officers found Wilson unresponsive. He later died at a local hospital. The 2 suspects were found in a vehicle near Vine and Mather Streets, at which time they tried to run away from officers, but police managed to get them into custody anyway. Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
13 UConn students have had their visas terminated. There's no word as to why. It is part of a wave of revocations of student visas across the country. They consist of a dozen current students and 1 alum. Trump administration officials repeatedly defended the deportation of a Maryland man to El Salvador today. This is Attorney General Pam Bondi.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
Sitting next to President Trump in the Oval Office, El Salvador's president said he won't return
Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. More details on the suspect who allegedly set fire to the Pennsylvania governor's residence over the weekend. Here's a story from CBS's Matt Piper.
Court documents show the man accused of starting a large fire in the Pennsylvania governor's residence told police he was harboring hatred toward Governor Josh Shapiro. The suspect went to Pennsylvania State Police headquarters to turn himself in. Images show completely charred rooms in the mansion. Harrisburg Fire Chief Brian Enterline.
There was fire in 2 separate rooms that are attached. There's a folding door between them, but that folding door was open because they had just celebrated Passover.
The suspect was in the Army Reserve from 2004 to 2012. Matt Piper, CBS News.
For late tax filers, it's go time. Returns are due at midnight tomorrow. State Commissioner of Revenue Services Mark Boughton with the reminder, most will pay lower state tax rates, which took effect in 2024.
What that did, the net, with also the increase of the earned income tax credit, between those two things, about 30 to 35% of the people out there will pay no income tax at all. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of filers that now no longer have to pay any income tax to the state of Connecticut. That's pretty good.
He says you won't find deductions on your state return. You'll take those on your federal return, then enter your adjusted gross income on both. The DRS has personnel staying late until 6 tonight and tomorrow to answer any questions. An earthquake shook San Diego County with a magnitude 5.2. Tim Connolly, the mayor of Ramona, California.
I just got a call now that there are multiple broken windows in San Diego Country Estates. It's about 3 miles from me.
No report of any serious injuries. Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow up 312 points to 40,524. NASDAQ up 107. S&P ahead 42. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an
40 seconds.
I apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare.
You
At
noticed
Wesley,
that, Lori.
we've helped over 40
He had a mask on, right? He had a mask in his hand.
Without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call
Hinton.
Information Kid. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, stupidest thing I read today coming up. I kind of already teased it, gave it away. Of course, there's that story about the soda tax. We'll talk about that as well. In fact, I was just on Tom Shaddix. We talked about him earlier. I was just on his X page. He just posted something about, I guess he's at some store and they're selling a series of different hats. Like you can get an FBI, NCIS hat, USA hats. And they had a couple of variations of the Make America Great Again hat. I think that are selling for about $15. But then he found the Kamala Harris Tim Walz hat, and it was selling for like $3 and change. So it's actually, and the headline he writes is brutal. And like, yeah, it's kind of brutal. It is kind of brutal. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and I guess I can mention it now. I've got a minute and a half. So the wife and I decided to go to this one town. We got there. Wasn't a lot there. We went to go have dinner. I took Roland's advice. Drive for about an hour and a half, which we did. And we went to this town called Seguin, and we get there and we go to eat. Turns out it is like number 5 on the state's most popular barbecue places. The line was around the corner before it opened. So we couldn't eat there, and we decided to get some sushi instead because, as I know, Chinese food, sushi, because that's not Chinese food. I'm differentiating. Anyway, I'm usually hungry within an hour. So we did that, and then we figured we'd go back to the old town we went to the week before, which we did. We went there, and we ended up having pizza instead. But while we were there, we found out that there was a train show. Now, I wasn't sure if this was going to be a train show or it was going to be, actual trains coming through the town, because they do have a railroad going through the town. That wasn't the case. It was inside, and it was inside of I guess a museum or wherever, and there were all of these model trains. And some people had set up these great, elaborate model train scenes with, miniatures all around them, and they also sold the model trains. Now, mind you, if I to purchase anything there, I would have to take out a loan. Okay, a locomotive we're selling for upwards of $300 to $400, just one locomotive. And I don't like the newfangled ones, either the bullet trains or some of the Amtrak. I don't like those. I like the old coal-fired trains. That's my big one. That's why I'm such a fan of Back to the Future 3. I love those. And they had one, and it had a weight on it. For those of you who like those trains, they got a weight on it. And so I was going to say that that's going to be my hobby. I'm going to put model trains all over my office, and I'm going to elevate them like an L train and have it go through my entire office. But I decided not to do that because it would have been way too expensive to do. I'm a miser. So I went another route. Let me give you a hint before we go. My good friend Matt in Bristol called up the show when we were doing the airing of grievances very early on, and he called in talking about a particular group of people who hog the road. I'm going to tell you about it when we get back. Now, let's get the weather from Jason Caterina and Mark Christophers at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, on the southbound side of I-91, delays 34 down to 32 A and B. Northbound 91, easy ride. Cromwell up into Windsor. Westbound 84, just a little tap of the brakes over the Bulkley Bridge into the tunnel. 84 eastbound, just losing a little speed. 48 Capitol Avenue down to the Bulkley Bridge. 291, 384, okay. 2 eastbound, moving well. Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound, slowing Harbor Park to the Irrigoti Bridge. Okay in Waterbury, 84 and 8. 84 eastbound. In Newtown, a little slow by exit 11. South 95, New Haven slows 46 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Maybe not.
Partly sunny and warmer to kick off the week on our Monday afternoon. The high moving up. Then tonight, occasional rain and drizzle. The low down to 48. Variably cloudy with a shower in spots on Tuesday. It'll be breezy. The high still 65 for us, so still quite mild. Partly cloudy. It'll be chilly Tuesday night with the low dropping down to 38. Now,
Craig, we got water here.
Mostly cloudy day.
Got a whole
Wednesday,
ocean.
windy too. The high down to 51.
It's called the Gulf of
Thursday,
America.
Sunny, breezy, warmer. We're going to kick off that warming trend that'll last right into the weekend. The high moving up to 58 on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy but milder with the high up to 63. Cloudy, breezy, and warmer as we head into the weekend Saturday, though there'll still be a couple of showers around, but the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Go to NordicUSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We have something to buzz about. Call the B. Connecticut trusted HVAC plumbing and drain professionals now offer electrical service. Call the B is ready to keep your home powered up. Visit calltheb.com. That's callthelletterb.com to schedule a speedy electrical service today.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, retirement, maybe even kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you really need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. We're committed to helping protect your personal interests and the life you've built. Don't let divorce take more than it has to. Talk to us today.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Hartford area attorneys. Phyllis McCutcheon, licensed in Connecticut. Online at CordellCordell.com.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles,
In 40 seconds.
try it for free
Okay.
at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey, baseball fans, you can win tickets to a Boston Red Sox game with the Red Sox Player of the Game contest. Just listen when we announce the player of the game during the 7th inning stretch. That would be during the break in the middle of the 7th inning. During every game broadcast on WTIC. Then tune into Brian and Company the following morning at 8:10. Know the player of the right caller, and you'll win a pair of tickets to an upcoming game in Boston. It's the Red Sox Player of the Game contest, only on WTIC News Talk 1080. President of the Chris Murphy Fan Club, Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
ATS actually is in the chat room. He just said something I thought was interesting because I was actually on CNN about this particular individual. This is what he wrote. He said, Republican Party destroyed Colin Powell's credibility, sending him to Congress with lies about Iraq. The Republican Party sold J.C. Watts, a potential rising star, to sit down and wait for them to determine if he was ready for a larger role. Let me push back on that a little bit, ATS. And let me start by saying Colin Powell's credibility was restored in 2008 when he endorsed none other than Barack Hussein Obama. They loved him then. And the reason why he did it was exactly for what you mentioned, and that is about the Iraq war. Does that sound familiar? Let me give you 2 words. Dick Cheney. I'll give you 2 more words. Liz Cheney. Those 2 people restored their credibility when they endorsed Kamala Harris. It's not unheard of. That's what people do. That's what people do. Mitt Romney. All of these people end up restoring their credibility by going to the left. And please spare me the J.C. Watts nonsense. J.C. Watts was no real Republican. You don't really believe that, do you? Byron Donalds is a real Republican. Tim Scott, even though I'm not a fan, is a realer Republican than J.C. Watts ever was. Ever was. I think you're just grasping on quote-unquote black Republicans and thinking that they're all the same because they're black and have an R next to their name. It takes a little more. It takes a little more. You know, to be a real Republican, at least in my book. And yes, I do believe there's authenticity in that charge. I don't believe that about race, but I do believe that about politics. I believe in authenticity, and I don't have to agree with them all the time. Yeah, that's like saying Michael Steele. Michael Steele, who still calls himself a Republican, by the way. You may know Michael Steele. Where does Michael Steele work now, the so-called black Republican? Well, sir, he works over at MSBET. We be got the news. That's where he works. I just wanted to play that. MSBET. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to Fred in Middletown. Hey, Fred.
Hey. 3 quick things. So I just want to hearken to one of the last great bits Todd Feinberg laid down.
What's that?
Before he left, it was what he called the Yankees suck principle, Yankees versus, or the unibrow party. And, like, you couldn't get him to carry water for Donald Trump or someone because they were a Republican.
Right.
He figured out, like, that the Globetrotters. You remind me with the story about the place that had a line before it opened, Yogi Berra. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. And real quick, what I like about Rocky Marciano is he's rocking the cool hand Luke principle. Sometimes nothing's a real cool hand. I don't have like a real deep appreciation of boxing, but what I understand about him, there was everything wrong with him. He had like short arms. He was short in general. And yet he just like on pure desire, he like made it happen, as in attitude is more important than fact. So I think that's what I like about him. And then that crouching he did, he was very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Rocky Marciano deal. In essence, what makes Rocky Balboa, that's, you think about so many iterations. I mean, that's what it was, right? I mean, Rocky was inspired by Rocky Marciano. That's the whole deal. It was sort of to fictionalize him in a way where he was the underdog. I remember telling people very early on, when people always talk about, I like that movie Rocky. I was like, do you ever notice that is a story where the hero loses? And that's the reason why people should like any movie. It should never be about the hero winning. It's about being able, like, you're not supposed to win just because you're chipping.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to fight no matter what, right?
Muhammad Ali lost.
Exactly.
Jaw broken, was on Johnny Carson 2 nights later.
Yeah.
Saying a real champion also knows how to lose.
Exactly.
Through a wired jaw.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you, boss. Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Tom in Thomaston, how are we doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Hey, Reese, this weekend, I went to Shandong National Park for a couple days.
No doubt.
I'm in the, it was nice, but a little early, but it still was nice to get away.
Yeah.
I'm in the Virginia area. Not much radio is coming in. So I'm turning all over trying to get a station. I got this one station, and on it, they called themselves the Black Information Network. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, yes, I have. Oh, yes, I have.
All I kept thinking was, I know one black person that doesn't think this is very good information.
No, it is not.
It should be the Black Liberal Information Network. And everything they said was so slanted to the left. It was comical.
It is so bad. It's you know what? It's so funny because these people actually think that they're legitimate, unbiased, down the middle, objective reporters, and they're not. And I'll give you the perfect example. It's the fact that they call themselves the Black Information Network. It's as if to suggest that all the time when I've been mocking them about, like, is there like wethinkblack.org where we go get the talking points of what black people believe today. And as much as I joked about that, they turned around and they did it. I'll tell you, you know why this happened? Do you know why this Black Information Network started? Do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because after the election of Barack Obama, NBC decided to do, I'll never forget it, NBC decided to do an all-black news website, and they called it NBC BLK. I'm not kidding. NBC Black. And you go to the website, and it was dominated by not just liberal talking points, which were very few, but it had little news, and it had everything to do with basketball and entertainment. That's it, and football. So if it was a story about something that was glossy or a fluff piece about a particular icon in those fields of music, sports, and entertainment, that's all they covered. And it was almost like slapping the face of black people saying, this is what they listen to. This is what they care about. And they don't understand the bigotry. Yeah, and like I said about this white liberal who's, let's just call them slaves.
That's crazy. Is that picked up in the Northeast at all, or is that?
No. You've got to get that online in order to get it. I mean, the only place that they actually do it, the Breakfast Club has one of their reporters who is a reporter for Black Information News.
Some station must have bought a block of it or something. It was on a Sunday afternoon on a local radio station somewhere in Virginia.
I know it's Virginia. It's really, really bad. It's really, really awful. It's an awful network. But yeah, I'm familiar with them. Very familiar. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you, sir.
Hey, Reese,
Yes.
one
Yeah.
more thing.
Yes.
So I'm heading 81 north.
Beautiful.
To go to the, yeah, that's a great drive if anyone hasn't done it. Right as I'm leaving Wilkes-Barre, I see a big sign, President Biden Boulevard. It was,
Yes,
it was a
you
little
will.
Offshoot of 81. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
President
I'll never forget when they put it up.
Boulevard.
By the way, if you're taking 81 north, how far north are you going?
I went up to I went up as far as the Teutonic highway, and then I cut into northern Connecticut.
Okay, so you're already
you're
already out. I would have suggested if you called in earlier, if I'd have caught you earlier, I would have told you to go to a town called Falling Waters, right off of 81. It is the most beautiful area in West Virginia, and it's old. People live there forever. No one ever moves out. And I know the guy who runs the town, who's pretty much Falling Waters, is like his town. He runs the whole town. Good friend of mine in that area. You will love it. If you ever come back down that corridor, stop in Falling Waters and go to New York Pizza. It's run by Guatemalans, but it still tastes like New York pizza.
I like going to the Smoky Mountains, so I head down 81 once a year or so.
Go through, trust me, go through Falling Waters. It's a beautiful town.
I'll check it out.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. Okay, so let me get into this real quick. So now that we have an opportunity, I got through the phone calls. Now let's get to it. Okay. So back in the early days of airing of grievances, Matt in Bristol called up, and a firestorm started because of his phone call. And I was going to find it today, but I had so much other stuff that I needed to get to. So he called up and he said that I'd like to air a grievance about the bike riders, who I affectionately refer to as the Lance Armstrongs when I see them all the time. I call them and say, look, it's the Lance Armstrongs. Those people who are riding on their 10-speed fixed wheels, you know who they are. And there's a lot of them. Well, anyway, in my and Matt's, I guess, ribbing, if you will, fun time ribbing of people who ride the bike, phone calls came pouring in about, hey, I ride a bike. Hey, I ride a bike, and these are expensive. These weigh, 1 pound or whatever. I know nothing about them. All I know is that people are really serious, or so I learned in Connecticut, about their bikes. And we're talking about people in their 50s, their 60s, maybe in their 70s, but they love bike riding. And I thought that was interesting. Well, weirdly enough, after we did our little excursion on Saturday, I went to bed and I had a dream. And I woke up, and the only thing I could think about was a bicycle. And I said, I have to get a bike. I don't know why, but I have to buy a bike. And my wife said, what are you doing? I said, I think I'm going to go window shopping today. I didn't tell her anything. I was thinking about going on my own. She was like, can I go with? And I'm like, sure. So we got up, left at about 11 o'clock, and then I did the craziest thing. I said, you know what? Instead of going to an actual bike shop, because they're probably going to be thousands of dollars for bikes, maybe even hundreds. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go another route. And I know I'm going to get pushback for this. So I said, I'm going to go to my favorite place to buy expensive things at a fraction of the cost. I went to the pawn shops. I just started going to all of them in the neighborhood. By the time I got to about the fourth one, there they were. 2 bikes, mountain bikes even. 1 Schwinn, 1 Huffy. And a combined price of $185. I said, okay. The attendant, very sweet young girl, probably about, I think she just graduated from high school. She's about 19, 20 years old. Very sweet girl. Started talking to my wife. They were, I guess sort of poking fun at me. But they were having a great time. But she was a very, very likable girl, and I sort of liked her personality. And I said, you know what? What can you do with these 2 bikes for $185? She goes, give me a second. Went in the back, and she says, if you pick them both up, I'll give them to you for $140 with tax, $146. I said, All right, let's go. So we bought them. Went there and we bought them. Threw them in the back of our hatchback. I piled those suckers in. And then I looked for a bike shop, went and got a bike pump, went and got some inner tubes, some extras just in case. Sure enough, my wife's, one of them was flat. I cleaned them up, and I went bike riding. I went bike riding for miles. First went with the wife, and then when she went in the house, I sat outside, and I kept looking at the bike, and I did it again. And there were a couple of hills and some areas, and it was tough, and I hadn't ridden a bike probably since the 90s. And I said, you know what? I think this is my thing. So now I'm hooked. I've got a Schwinn in the garage ready to go. I've already been on it 3 times. I went on it this morning, and that's my thing. I am now a bike rider, and I want to thank Matt in Bristol for somehow putting that nonsense in my head. I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to show you guys during the show and put it online. And tell me some of the things that you think. I don't have one of those cup holders. I had an old cup holder. I got to change those things. But I'm going to buy some accessories. Yeah, Rama's singing the Queen's Bicycle. I know. I was singing it myself when I was riding. I was totally singing Bicycle while I was riding like a knucklehead. That's exactly what I was doing. Let's get Jason Katarina with the weather and Mark Christopher.
Wow, Reese, look at you, man.
I was so excited. I still am. In fact, I can't wait till I get off the air because I'm going to go ride it again. And I can't believe it.
Next thing you'll know, you'll be riding your bike around France in the Tour de France.
No.
And then you'll get too competitive, and you'll be like Lance, and you start shooting up steroids, and
No, the only thing I'm doing is tour the golf course right outside.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, nice. That's nice, too. Oh, man. Hey, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now, southbound side of I-91, you've got some slow traffic. This traffic report is being brought to you by Columbia Implant Center in Manchester. Southbound 91 delays getting by 33 Jennings Road. Quiet northbound 91 Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 48 Asylum. Eastbound 84 just losing a little speed, 46 Sisson Avenue down to the Bulkley Bridge. 291 384 okay, 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound Middletown losing a little slowdown by the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound Waterbury slowing at the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Newtown slowing at 11. South 95 in New Haven, you'll see delays 46 down to 43. In West Haven, stuck in traffic again? Don't waste another minute. Columbia Implant Center in Manchester gets you in and out fast, often in just one day. Open 7 days a week. Get your smile back now. Columbia Implant Center, ColumbiaImplantCenter.com. Traffic and weather together on the 8 WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Monday afternoon, partly sunny and warmer to kick off the week with the high moving up to 69. Now, occasional rain and drizzle tonight, the low dropping down to 48. Still variably cloudy with a shower in spots on Tuesday, so you may want to take your umbrella when you head out as a just in case. Still mild, though, breezy too with the high up to 65. Partly cloudy Tuesday night, the low down to 38. Then windy and cooler Wednesday with the high of 51. I'm meteorologist Jason Katarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
68 degrees at 4:30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. In Hartford, police are charging 2 juveniles in the shooting death of 17-year-old Chevron Wilson. He was found after police responded to Weathersfield Avenue and Baker Street Sunday. 14 and 16-year-olds are charged with felony murder in the city's 5th homicide of the year. A pedestrian was struck and killed in Hartford Sunday night. Police say Beth Bosco was 67. She was confined to a wheelchair, hit by the driver of a vehicle at Broad Street in the 84 overpass. The driver did stop and is cooperating. Investigators say the man who set fire to the Pennsylvania governor's residence used Molotov cocktails. Cody Balmer is facing attempted murder and other charges. President Trump's top advisors and El Salvador's president say they have no basis for a return of a Maryland man who was wrongly deported there last month. The two met at the White House today. Commercial truck driver who was acquitted in the 2019 deaths of 7 motorcyclists in New Hampshire, has been sentenced to probation after pleading guilty to impaired driving in Connecticut a month before the deadly crash. Vladimir Sokovsky today entering his plea under the Alford doctrine, meaning he didn't admit guilt but acknowledged there was enough evidence for a conviction. Former UConn guard Paige Beckers expected to be the first overall selection in tonight's WNBA draft. Becker is, of course, fresh off leading UConn to its 12th national championship. Dow up 312 points today. NASDAQ gained 107. S&P up 42.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Reese on the radio here for
baseball,
WTIC News Talk 10.
Tonight, the Red Sox begin a series against the Rays. The pregame follows the 6 p.m. news here. Yanks open a series at the stadium against the Royals, and the Mets are in Minnesota to face the Twins. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help Marty.
I was a really grumpy guy, sleeping like garbage, and getting older, the energy level was just in the toilet, and that was what led to me going in. I've been treated at Northeast Men's Health for low testosterone, coming on about 2 years now. Within a few weeks, I started noticing I was sleeping a little better. I definitely noticed a higher energy level, but the old man crankiness just went away. I'm able to stay really well organized. Nothing slips through the cracks. Having the T treatment is leading me to keep on top of my game. What I would say to any other guy that is in the same situation where they feel like they're dragging, just call Northeast Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Marty. It's true. Low T therapy can dramatically change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call today, 800-930-5956, or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit psychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I love this song. I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Visit a store near you or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing, taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply.
Susan, that's what I've been calling them for years.
Locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, yeah. Is it that time? Wow. I can't believe it. This is going by fast.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Stupidest thing I read today when talking earlier with the caller about this taxation and nonsense that's happening in Connecticut. This particular bill is interesting. And I want to thank Brandon for sending it to me. I saw it. I was going to make it a topic of today, but I figured I'd make it a part of the stupidest thing I read today because it is stupid. And what they don't recognize is, one, this is a tax on the poor. That's one. Two, the distributors are the persons that are going to affect the buyer in this tax. And if you've heard about it, you know it. Connecticut is enacting a 2 cents per ounce tax on sweetened beverages. So the law is, in essence, going to tell the distributors that they are going to pay 2 cents for every fluid ounce, okay, of the entire item. 2 cent tax on all of it. So what does the distributor do? What do? They pass the savings on to the customer, right? And in doing so, you have to hike it up above the 2 cents. They just are. You're not going to meet it at the middle. You don't meet it at the 2 cents. You never do. This, and some people will scream and holler, oh, it's price gouging. No, it isn't. It's taxes. It's what they do. Because here's what's going to happen. The tax, knowing that it's going to raise the price of the item, they are going to lose revenue. They have to compensate for that, don't they? They have to compensate for the lost revenue. So if a poor family, can't afford that particular beverage, they will cease buying it. And when they cease buying it, the distributor will see their numbers go down. What happens then? So they have to make up for that loss of customer. Not the loss of product, the loss of the customer. That's how they do it on the back end. That's how any business would do it. That's how you would do it. You're forced to raise your prices. You know you're going to lose customers. That means you're going to make sure that that one customer is paying for two of them. That's how that works. That's how I do it. That's how I did it, I should say. When the slow season happened, and people don't understand it, but you have to make up. When I was in the moving business, when it was slow in the beginning, I would lower rates now and again, but I would nickel and dime in other places. Where places that I normally wouldn't charge for certain things, I had to charge. Fuel cost. Oh, hell yeah. I would charge for fuel cost. Normally, I don't. Normally, that's already baked in, but at a much smaller. In other words, I used to, let's say the gas price was $2.50. I charge $1.50 in gas. Why? Because my overall rate would cover that anyway. Now, you're a small business, usually you have to lower price. But then when you start to get bigger and you start to get more and more volume, and then you find out that you have to pay more taxes, what you do is you compensate them by passing that off to the customer. It's just what they do. Now, there are some people who would say, I don't want my customers to have to suffer through that, but not the beverage industry. They make too much money, and they know that they're going to lose customers. They know it. They're not going to lose the customers that can afford that tax. But they're definitely going to lose the ones who can't. And again, that's what I mean when I say the tax on the poor. And we got to get the traffic. I totally forgot about that. Just looking at the time. Let's get another check on the BPS traffic and the weather. Jason Caterina's got your weather. Mark Christopher's at the BPS Traffic Center. I completely lost time. Lost track of time.
That's okay, Reese. No problem at all. We are fine. If you're southbound 91, a little slow getting by 33 Jennings Road. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up in Windsor. Westbound 84, a little tight Bulkley Bridge. Eastbound 84, you're slowing now. 46 Sisson Avenue down into the tunnel. 291 through 84, okay, east of the river. 2 eastbounds, okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. A little slow, 9 northbound, the Aragodi Bridge in Middletown. Westbound 84 losing a little speed at the Mixmaster. If you're traveling down in toward New Haven. Southbound side of 95 slowing from 46 down into 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
If you or a loved one has been the victim of medical malpractice, know that you are not alone. Call 1-800-HAYMOND and they will get you the answers and advice you deserve. Attorney John Haymond is your legal authority in medical malpractice. Call 1-800-HAYMOND.
WTIC weather.
Well, cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle late tonight. The low down to 47. Variably cloudy for Tuesday with an afternoon thunder shower. Now gusty winds and small hail can accompany any downpour, so heads up for that. The high is 64, so another mild day. Cooler midweek. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, windy. The high 51. May feel a little chilly at times, especially if you're in the shade. Sunny, breezy, and warmer Thursday. The high 58. Warming right into the weekend, mostly cloudy Friday, the high 63. Saturday, turning cloudy, breezy, and warmer. A couple of showers, but the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. Right now, it's 66 in Danbury, 63 in New Haven, New London at 63, and 68 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Wisdom teeth giving you trouble? Columbia Dental's expert oral surgeons specialize in comfortable and efficient wisdom tooth removal. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
We have something to buzz about. Call the Bee. Connecticut trusted HVAC plumbing and drain professionals now offer electrical service. Call the Bee is ready to keep your home powered up. Visit callthebee.com. That's callthelletterb.com to schedule a speedy electrical service today.
At Ayala Home Services, we handle hundreds of water heater issues a year. We know how much of an inconvenience no hot water is, and with our fully stocked trucks and warehouse, you can get your hot water back as soon as the same day. Contact the trusted professionals at ALO Home Services when you call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO. Call for details. Licensed for safety. P102776688, B104011465, B1185643, S33086999, HIC 628926, SM30044646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Attention. Have you racked up
1 minute
in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We'll get into some of the other items of the day and, of course, your phone calls. Stick around. We do know that the president of El Salvador is in Washington right now, and he was speaking to the president of the United States, and plenty of staffers were there and cabinet members were there as well. And this was a good exchange that was going on that I now hear that Chris Murphy is tweeting about. Let me read you what he wrote. He says, bone chilling. A court ordered Kilmar Abrego Garcia to stay in the United States. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that he was illegally removed. Trump is pretending he won the ruling 9-0. One, you may not think this case means anything to you, but let me tell you why it does. Now, I'm sorry, Chris, real quick. Mr. Garcia is not a Maryland man. He's not. A Maryland man is a man who is an American citizen who lives in Maryland. He is a Maryland man. Mr. Garcia is an El Salvadorian living in Maryland. Well, he was. He is not a citizen of the United States. He is an illegal person in the United States. He is also tried and convicted to be an MS-13 member. He is gang affiliated. That is a fact. He is in an El Salvador prison. You, like many of your cohorts, wish to have him and plenty of others released from this prison so they can wreak havoc across the cities and states that you and your ilk dwell. But don't worry, President Bukele has responded to this, and he has responded handily. You don't like it, but I would say take it up with the president of El Salvador.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposedly not suggesting that I'll smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
But you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. We're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. We just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our country.
There's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people.
Again, you look like idiots. You're trying really, really hard to look like idiots. Brad Todd, Republican strategist, was on CNN over the weekend. This is what he said about Democrats. Again, I laugh at you. I know you've got no chance to get back in power. You're just too dumb.
The Democrat platform's shaping up.
raise taxes, be easy on China, and don't cut government spending at all. The only thing we haven't talked about is the border. And tonight, Johanna Hayes, the congresswoman from Connecticut, is saying she regrets the vote for the Lake and Riley Act. I mean, Democrats have learned nothing from the last election, and that's where they head in the midterms.
Oh, and I can't wait. Keep making the same stupid errors. Keep doing it over and over again. Don't worry. Listen, your mind-numb robots, you know, your trolls, your cult members, because that's what they are, you think about it. The people who are out there cheering this, your side, the people who are out there rallying that, what are they arguing? No government oversight. No draining of the swamp. No ending of waste, fraud, and abuse. No removal of criminal aliens from our schools, from our jobs, from anywhere. You guys want to double down on that. And you've got people running around through the streets promoting that on your behalf. Good luck. Good luck. And I know that you believe that if you show this volume of people, that these rational folks, what they're arguing, oh, and by the way, terrorizing electric car drivers while making the same argument for climate change. You think this is all winning. Good luck to you. And let me start by saying this. God, this is the most important part. I want to make sure that this is made very, very clear. The Summer of Love 2020, George Floyd, which, by the way, I have news on that. George Floyd, DEI, CRT, transgender issues. All of these things are the reason why you lost. These are the things you doubled down on and the reason why you lost. And you are still working on them. Good luck. God bless you. We want you to. No one is outraged. I know some people, I see them in the chat room just going, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Don't. It's not about, it's not for you to understand at all. Just make sure that other minds of mush don't fall into this trap. That's all. Your young people, the people who you influence, just use logic and reason on them. And if they can't, they'll be fine. They've got to answer all of these ridiculous questions. They have to. You have to make them make sense of it. And if they can't or they won't, got to let them go. But trust me when I tell you, they are not growing in strength at all. 13 Yukon pro-Palestinian remover. Okay, am I supposed to care? I don't. Here's why I don't care. Let me put it to you this way. People talk about these guys. These people are being removed from colleges and universities across the country because they're promoting pro-Palestine. Okay, first of all, let me tell you why I don't care. All right? There's no such thing as Palestine. Okay, I'm just not lying. Listen, Palestine exists in the same way that transgender women exist. They don't. I'll use that Chasing Amy joke. What does the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Palestine, and a transgender woman have in common? None of them freaking exist. So as far as I'm concerned, a quote-unquote Palestine supporter is supporting fairyland. That person is delusional because it doesn't exist. And you got to explain to me where you know your history. So I'm just going to deal with the fact that I don't have to care about somebody defending or being removed for defending a place that doesn't exist. From the river to the sea, an imaginary place that was never, ever called that should be free. It doesn't exist. Sorry. And you're going to have to explain to me how it is. All of you. You're going to have to make your case. Tell me how Palestine existed. Tell me how they were removed from a place that the people were before. It would be like Native Americans having to explain how the colonizers got here before them. Doesn't make any sense because it doesn't. And I'll even go so far. Look up Judaism versus Islam. When did they exist? When did they come into existence? Huh? 1,500 years apart. Who came first? Huh? Which one was the chicken? Which one was the egg? Just tell me. Just tell me. You can't. So until you can do that, please shut up. You obviously don't know what this is about. Okay? You're just glomming on to whatever's popular on the interweb, and that's it. No, actually, 1948 does not. You think the world started in 1948? What happened? That's not what, that land didn't exist in 1948. It didn't rise from the waters of the Mediterranean in 1948. None of that makes sense. Let's go to Dave in Ellington. How we doing, Dave?
Reese, I've come to the conclusion that you are crazy.
Why?
You talked about so much stuff that it's insane. I just wanted to sit here and tell you that why do I care that Gail King, that's a millionaire, goes into space?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I didn't even talk about that.
That it's the first 6 black women go into space.
I don't know what that's
the
about.
atmosphere, and then they floated for 3 minutes, and then they came back down. How much did that cost?
Well, Blue Sky paid for it. I don't know if NASA had it or taxpayers played any role in it. I don't understand the cultural significance of it. I'm sure people talked about it for about a minute and a half. I saw the rocket go up. I looked at it and I just went, okay, I guess it's cool for a civilian to do that, and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, who cares? I mean, really, who cares?
I really don't think anybody does.
Everybody hates Trump. Trump sucks. And it's like, oh, Trump can't do nothing right. And all of a sudden, it's all like, oh, Gail King's going to space. Yeah, so what?
People need something to distract themselves. I don't know what this is about, but it is. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate you, sir. Let's go to Dave in Brantford. How are you, sir?
Yeah, such a boomer name. Boy, Reese, it's hard to keep up with your topics. Briefly, it's not the one I wanted to start on. The 2%, the 2 cents tax per ounce.
Yes.
Sounds very small and very benign, but I encourage your listeners to consider the 2-liter jug of soda.
Exactly.
Which I get for 99 cents at Aldi's. There's 67.6 ounces in that.
And there you go.
$1.36 of tax. That's like 50% more than the price of the product.
Exactly.
Just in tax.
Exactly.
That's outrageous.
Which again,
a greedy beyond belief state.
And that's crazy because you sort of echo my point, is that with that tax, they know that there are going to be people who cannot afford that. That's why I say it's a tax on the poor. If the poor will not pay that money for it, the distributor has to angle that loss of money. And what does it do? It's going to make that 2 cents that the state is charging them and turn it into 4.
Do I have time to do Lamont's $30 million housing program?
Please.
Oh, okay, so the state wants to help black and brown people get their first home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And so the mayor, Arunam, is saying it's going to be the first in the nation investment in black and brown neighborhoods. And so, contrary to the Supreme Court, it's a way to get money predominantly to black and brown people.
Yes,
which as you know, you can't select
That's
the
correct.
race that programs are for. And they're bragging about it, including Senator Doug McCrory, who's a Democrat up in Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is they're talking about time to own, which provides forgivable loans as down payments already for 5,800 first-time home buyers. Reese, you know what a forgivable loan is.
Yeah.
It's a gift. They're just giving you the money.
Well, I wish they would just do that.
Back.
Stop calling it a forgivable loan and just call it a handout.
Okay, and Reese, here's the most insidious vote-rigging nature of the scheme.
Boom.
The mayor, that would be Arunan Arulampalam, the mayor said the goal is so-called workforce housing for teachers, police, and firefighters.
Oh, there's just
now,
less fun.
Think about that. People who belong to public sector unions,
exactly.
It's an incest circle, who are going to work for the mayor, who will then repay them by putting them in the front of the line to get these home loans for nothing, and you get a permanent collection of people who work for the town and
Yeah.
work to get you elected.
That
is vote rigging, but it's just awful.
It's not even
just
vote
awful.
rigging. Hold on, Dave. It goes further than that. Listen, this was the stimulus package of Barack Obama in 2009. Remember what that $800 billion went to? It went in directly to the public worker unions, and that money was a slush fund because that money went right back into their coffers and right back to fundraising.
And then it was Biden's IRA program to give reparations to people of color, and we package it as a key to home ownership.
Exactly.
And the money's given out by zip code, and you guarantee they handpicked red lines, the population neighborhoods that get the money as a maximum percentage, black and brown people, which ordinarily is not legal to redline in that way, but they make it sound like a good thing. And
well, you know what's going to happen,
all the
right?
points
We're
I
going to
wanted
watch what we're going to do. If this goes outside the scope of the public worker union, if it goes outside that scope and it goes to just anyone, what we're going to see is a foreclosure rate in the state of Connecticut, in Hartford in particular, that you've never seen before since 2008, 2009.
The 2008 meltdown all over again. All the information I provided came from a New Haven Register story Thursday, April 3rd, written by Ken Dixon, in case people wonder if I made it up.
No, it's good stuff. Thank you, man, as always.
Thank you.
You got it. I wait for, by the way, guys, you don't know this, but I'm going to give you a little sort of how the cookie or how the sausage is made, so to speak. I love when Dave and Branford calls in because I know New Haven Register, he loves that. So I always wait for him to call. And I literally look at this phone doc to see when he's going to call in because I know he's going to cover that stuff in a minute. So it's almost like he's got his own segment. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get another check of the traffic and weather. Oh, man, 5 o'clock hour coming up real fast. We got plenty of stuff to get into. Jason Caterina's got your weather, and Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, bud.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Not much going on right now. Big vacation week, so traffic's very light right now. 84 eastbound, just a little slow. 48 Capitol Avenue to the Bulkley. Westbound, 84 slowing, approaching the Bulkley Bridge to 47 Sigourney. 91 south, losing a little speed at 32 A and B. Quiet northbound 91, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291, 384, no issues. 2 eastbound, moving well. Glastonbury into Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury, 84 westbound's a little slow as you approach the Mixmaster. Down in New Haven, 95 southbound, some slow traffic. 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly sunny and warmer to kick off the week on our Monday afternoon. The high moving up to 69 today. Then tonight, occasional rain and drizzle. The low down to 48. Variably cloudy with a shower in spots on Tuesday. It'll be breezy. The high still 65 for us, so still quite mild. Partly cloudy. It'll be chilly Tuesday night with the low dropping down to 38. Now, cooler as we make our way into midweek. Mostly cloudy day Wednesday, windy too, the high down to 51. Thursday, sunny, breezy, warmer. We're going to kick off that warming trend that'll last right into the weekend. The high moving up to 58 on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy, but milder with the high up to 63. Cloudy, breezy, and warmer as we head into the weekend Saturday, though there'll still be a couple of showers around, but the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
As winter fades and the warmth of spring fills the air, be sure to tune to WTIC News Talk 1080. Bob Cox and the WTIC weather team will guide you through the ever-changing springtime weather with updates on the 8s every weekday morning and afternoon. Don't let the unpredictable spring weather catch you off guard. Tune in throughout the day and stay informed and prepared. Connecticut's most accurate local weather is on WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A teenager was shot in Hartford on Sunday. Now 2 juveniles are charged with felony murder. 17-year-old Chevron Wilson was found after police responded to a report of shots fired late Sunday morning at Wethersfield Avenue and Baker Street. He later died in an area hospital. Police picked up the suspects, aged 14 and 16, after a brief foot pursuit after the suspect vehicle was spotted. Angel Lugo is a Hartford criminal defense attorney who says he's seen the influence of gangs in the city's youth.
A lot of these gangs are using the juveniles, the ones that are 14, 15, to do the dirty work, because then that allows them to sort of escape prosecution, and that's what a lot of opponents have said about, we need juvenile reform.
Audio from WFSB, the killing the fifth in Hartford this year. UConn says the visas of some international students have been revoked, but the government isn't explaining why. WTIC's Dave Mager has that.
13 people on the store's campus have had visas pulled, according to the school. 6 are undergrads, 6 are grad students, and 1 is in a post-grad professional program. Nationally, some students feel they're being targeted for something that's not illegal, opposing U.S. policy. The Trump administration claims it's all part of a move to fight anti-Semitism, while Homeland Security says it's been going through social media to identify what it considers extremism. There are no reports of UConn students being rounded up, but the university is not giving updates on individuals. 4 students at Yale have also had visas revoked. Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
And another Columbia University student has been arrested by ICE.
Moshin Madawi is the second Palestinian student at Columbia to be detained by ICE agents. His attorney says he was heading into a naturalization interview in Vermont when he was detained. Madawi had been a leader of the campus protest movement against Israel's war on Gaza. His attorneys call his arrest unlawful and says it violates the First Amendment, saying he's been a legal resident for the last 10 years. He was expected to graduate from Columbia next month.
CBS's Matt Piper reporting. Worried about federal budgets and job cuts, as well as the impacts of tariffs, State Senate Democrats have written a letter to the Department of Labor to ask if it is prepared for any economic downturn. Senate President Martin Looney.
We're worried that the Trump economic policies may trigger a recession, bringing higher levels of unemployment, and together with the layoffs that have been announced already, if they're not overturned in the courts, there could be a surge of new unemployment claims, and that was the point of the letter.
Says they're specifically asking if DOL has done recent stress testing on their systems and whether they have a staffing contingency in place if there's a sharp increase in claims, much like the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic 5 years ago. After a week of turmoil on Wall Street, stock market closed in positive territory today. Business reporter Jason Brooks has the recap.
Moshin Madawi is the second Palestinian student at Columbia to be detained by ICE agents.
And that's obviously not Jason's report, but the markets were up today. The Dow ahead 312 points, the NASDAQ up 107, and the S&P gained 42 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
How did you get your trip?
Oh, a minute.
So fast.
ALO Home Services. Same day electrical. I gave them a call and they had a technician on their way. They even sent the technician's real-time location so I knew when they would be here.
Did you say same day? That's crazy.
If you need same-day electrical, call, click, or text today and say hello, ALO, call for details. Licensed for safety. P1027768, D10401465, E1185643, S3308699, HIC 628926, SM3004646, HOD 635, HOD 223.
Connecticut hospitals care for more than just patients. They care for our workforce, creating 245,000 jobs. They care for our economy as the largest employer in Connecticut. They care for our communities, connecting residents to health screenings, nutritious food, and stable housing. And they care for our future. Making healthcare accessible, equitable, and affordable. Connecticut hospitals create real change by caring for Connecticut. Learn more at caringforct.org.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, I saw the headline, Lori, of the young man Carmelo Anthony's judge just ruled that his bail be reduced from $1 million to $250,000. And of course, people are calling this judicial malpractice. I don't see, and I almost feel like the objective is to rabble rouse. The objective is to outrage people. And it, again, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I don't think that anybody realized the amount of outrage in all of this. I'm actually hedging a little bit on even this. I know everybody wants to talk about it, but there's a reason why. And I follow my instincts, and I know them well. I've been talking about this, but I'm waiting. That's all. I'm just waiting. And there's a reason why I do. And people want to take issue with that, that's fine. Come at me. Whatever. We'll talk about that. When we get back from the break, I do want to talk about this woman, Taylor Lorenz, and her interview with CNN. I also want to talk about Chuck Todd as well. This was interesting, Chuck Todd talking about bias. Let me play that for you first, and then on the other side, we'll talk about what all of this means. It's very incredible. He was on Piers Morgan's YouTube show talking about the bias in the news media. I found this interesting.
I would argue the reason people were able to come to their own conclusion on Joe Biden is because of the media coverage. Look, we were subtle. He's using the back staircase. He's not using the front staircase. Hey, he's not doing any interviews. So there was this reluctance to draw the conclusion to say, is he not doing this? And that I agree with. That was held back a lot. There were plenty of members of the media. I remember David Ignatius in the Washington Post, plenty of individual people questioning whether he should run. I certainly questioned whether he should run. You didn't understand, there were some of that. But I understand the argument about the collective on that front. The only thing I can chalk it up to is this, whatever you want to call it, this fear that some members of the media had sometimes that they would be perceived as helping Trump if they somehow diminished Biden, right? That it was some sort of zero-sum game. And I think this has been the fundamental mistake that many members of the traditional press have done.
There's a lot that Chuck Todd revealed in that last statement. I'm going to talk about that on the back end. And the Taylor Lorenz story, CNN. Danny O'Sullivan interviewed Taylor Lorenz about Mangione, the killer of the U.S. healthcare CEO. So I'll break a lot of that down. These journalists are becoming very, very brazen as of late. We'll talk about that on the other side. All right. Your phone calls also. 860-522-WTIC. Jason Caterina's got weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS traffic center. Mark, do you own a bike? I didn't even bother to ask you.
I do own a bike, yeah.
Do you ride around? I mean, how often?
I haven't lately. I really should get back out there and ride again because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah?
And,
can you remember the last time you rode? Are we talking a year at least?
I would say 2 summers ago.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I should get back on it because I do enjoy.
Is it expensive? Just so I know, just like we're talking like a regular old bike, or did you spend like about a good grand?
No. This is probably a $300 or $400 bike.
Oh, okay, like me.
Yeah, nothing special. I think it's what is it? Schwinn?
Please tell me you have a Schwinn.
I think it's a Schwinn.
We're Schwinnsies.
Yes, we are. We're Schwinnsies. That was the first bike I got as a kid was a Schwinn. So I should get back out there. I just got to blow the tires up and go for it.
Why not?
I do enjoy bike riding.
You know what? Take a ride down to the grocery store. Get some snacks and some like that. That's worth the trip.
There you go. Just ruin any positive.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, honey, I just rode 10 miles on the bike, but I just ate. I just had a gallon of ice cream and a bag of chips. So there you go. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 84 eastbound, a little slow as you move into the tunnel. Westbound 84 looks real good, burning out into Farmington. Both sides of 91 speed limit. Quiet 291 384 2 eastbound, moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. Quiet Middletown. If you're heading into Waterbury, 84 westbound, a little slow at the Mixmaster. Traveling down in toward New Haven, 95 southbound, delays 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Cloudy tonight with occasional rain and drizzle. The low down to 47. Breezy, variably cloudy, an afternoon thunder shower on Tuesday. Gusty winds and small hail can accompany any downpour. The high 64. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, windy, a cooler day. Feeling a bit chilly at times. The high 51. Sunny, breezy, warmer Thursday. The high 58. Friday, mostly cloudy, but the high up to 63. Right now, 64 in Waterbury, 66 in Mansfield, 69 in Bristol, and 68 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
It's the Peter L. Brown Company's 65th anniversary. For a limited time, purchase high-performance double-pane windows from the Peter L. Brown Company and get an upgrade to super-efficient triple-pane glass at no additional charge. For a free estimate, please visit peterlbrown.com.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Did you hear? Come on, minute. Stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Reese on the radio is getting ready
I
to
would argue
drop
the reason
some
people
knowledge.
were able to come to their own conclusion on Joe Biden is because of the media coverage. You know, look, we were subtle. He's using the back staircase. He's not using the front staircase. Hey, he's not doing any interviews. So there was this reluctance to draw the conclusion to say, is he not doing this? And that I agree with. That was held back a lot. There were plenty of members of the media. I remember David Ignatius in the Washington Post, plenty of individual people questioning whether he should run. I certainly questioned whether he should run. You didn't understand, you know, there were some of that. But I understand the argument about the collective on that front. The only thing I can chalk it up to is this, whatever you want to call it, this fear that some members of the media had sometimes that they would be perceived as helping Trump if they somehow diminished Biden, right? That it was some sort of zero-sum game.
And that's exactly what it was. And he revealed a lot in saying that. Because, look, we've gone way past that. And it doesn't matter what network we're talking about. I see it where people are trying to just be journalists. I do. And there's a lot of stuff that I read where people are just trying to be journalists. But unfortunately, there are the people now who are considered parts of the media used to work on one side of the aisle, if you were. When I watch Jason Chaffetz on television, I'm like, Jason Chaffetz is a Republican. I don't expect him to give a liberal point of view when he's hosting for Sean Hannity at 9 o'clock. In the evening time on these news networks, most of them are supposed to be what? Opinionated columnists, if you will, on television. And that's what they should. But you have these people calling themselves journalists. Chuck Todd is no journalist. He's no down-the-middle guy. This idea that people in the media said they felt or feared that they might be helping Trump by reporting on Biden shows you exactly what the problem is in the news media. You don't have an angle. What you should be reporting the truth. What happens thereafter is out of your hands. You report what the facts are. So if there was a fear in the news media by reporting on Biden's ailing cognitive decline, saying to yourself, well, this may look good for Trump, if that's in your thought, something's wrong with you. Hey, look, if it helps Trump, it helps Trump. I don't care. I'm just reporting the story. He's going to have to work that out, Joe Biden. Don't do his bidding. Doing his bidding or worried about how it's going to help Trump because your peers are going to say to you, hey, man, I saw your report the other day. You know that's helping Trump. I would look at them and I'd say, why? Why is it helping Trump? That guy not look like he's failing miserably? That guy look like he's asleep at the wheel? What are you missing? Oh, you have an agenda. Oh, you want to save his career? Well, you do that on your show. I'm just going to state the facts on my show and get out of my face. Yeah, you know what? You're not invited to the barbecue on Saturday. But they all had a role. It's who they are. Let's take Taylor Lorenz, for instance. This guy, Donnie O'Sullivan, not an American, but he's some sort of digital media reporter. He's been getting a lot of burn lately. And I found this interesting in his conversation with Taylor. Taylor Lorenz used to work for the Washington Post. And to look her up, they'll tell you that she's a journalist and a columnist, that sometimes she did straight news and sometimes she did opinionated news for the Washington Post. I've not found anything that suggests the former. She's always been a columnist. But this was an interesting exchange between her and Donnie O'Sullivan at CNN. Listen to this. Explaining the fandom, if you will, or support of allegedly murderer, Luigi Mangione, and people who support Donald Trump. Yeah, an association was made. Listen closely.
Some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
Now, you listen to what he said. He said some of the people who support Mangione has been described as the same as the media who can't understand why people support Donald Trump. Does that sound like a fair and balanced media that they can't understand? Why are they trying to understand? The media doesn't have to understand anything. They're just supposed to support. They're not supposed to play a side, right? It's objective news media. Donnie O'Sullivan doesn't know anything about that.
Some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
Yeah, so here it is, Taylor Lorenz suggesting that Mangione is like Trump, tearing down the systems. But she thinks far highly of Mangione, this Taylor Lorenz. Listen to what she says she's doing.
I think it's hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
Journalists are not supposed to speak to the anger of anyone. Again, objective. She speaks of herself as a journalist, and she says that once she started covering Mangione in a favorable way, she saw her readership grow. She almost felt legitimized by it. And this is the piece de resistance. Mangione is moral in Taylor Lorenz's view. He is moral. He is good. That's the reason why women adore him.
The women who got her outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Oh, he's so morally good, and it's just so hard to find. It's so funny. They're talking about a man who murdered a father. Yeah, a husband and a father going to a conference. Mangione's so good, chucking it up. This, remember, folks, what you're contending with is evil. It's not to say that they all aren't, they all are evil. They're just a huge faction of them who are. They're just evil. Now, I'm not going to walk around and point to everyone and say, "Oh, you're." Some of them think they have good intent. Sure, they do. They're going to have to figure it out on their own. I'm not going to try to suggest to them how they're supposed to live their lives. I have no intention of telling them what to do or how to find their moral footing. It's not my job. That's something they're going to have to deal with. But remember, guilt by association is a standard that they set. Taylor Lorenz is one of them. She is. She represents them. And no matter how liberal you think you are, remember that she is out there with the platform and the megaphone representing you. And if you want to stick by her and condemn conservatives, oh, but, if you want to yeah, but me to death, yeah, sure. But this weighs you down. This is the reason why no one wants to hear your side. This is why nobody wants to listen to you. This is why no one takes you seriously. They never will. Because if you don't get that in order, Mangione becomes a martyr. If you don't get that in order, Carmelo Anthony becomes a victim. He murdered a kid. He becomes the victim. After a while, people have had enough of that twisting of reality. Those days are over. You're going to have to come to grips. Keep making it about us. Keep pointing to us. We got this guy who burned down the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. You notice no one's talking about his political leanings? I'll tell you why. Because they can't. Because they can't. I listened to ABC News talk about the kid who killed both of his parents, stole their money, and traveled down to D.C. to kill the president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I listened to ABC News call the president, Donald Trump, for the first time in years, the president of the United States. He came to kill a president of the United States, their exact word. Wouldn't even say the name. Why? Because the kid had leanings with white supremacists, Nazis, and the Democrat Party. They wouldn't even say that this kid was planning on assassinating Donald Trump and was supporting Nazism. We want to know why? Because they've been running around calling the president of the United States a Nazi. And now they got a kid who's actually calling himself a Nazi, has Nazi affiliations, coming down to go after Donald Trump. That seems odd. They don't want the American people to hear that some kid who calls himself a Nazi is planning on killing the president of the United States. It would do the thing that the media doesn't want. It would separate Donald Trump from that moniker. Why don't we know more about the political leanings of a man who tried to kill the governor and his family in his home? Why don't we know his political leanings? There's photographs of him hugging a black woman with a bunch of different raced kids. That kid don't look like that guy doesn't look like some radical Republican. So why aren't they talking about it? Same reason why we didn't get the Covington manifesto of the transgender who shot up the school, killed 3 children, 3 faculty members. Reason why they hid it for us. Why? Because it's evil. That's because everything that they stand for is evil and it's associated with them. The same Donnie O'Sullivan went on CNN and said, I couldn't believe it, said that radicalism in this country is far more on the right. You know, the guy who was sending those pipe bombs back during the last Trump administration or during that election, what's his name? They found him living in a van. He was a huge Trump supporter. What's his name? Anybody remember him? Anybody even remember where he was caught? Anybody remember what year that was? No. How many people can you name today on the left? Huh? Thomas Crooks? James Hodgkinson? How many people can you name? I don't listen to any of this nonsense. All of it is bull. All of it is silly. Again, it is not that all of them are evil, but they got a lot of evil to tend to. They do. Antifa got a lot of evil to tend to. And look, if Donald Trump could be tethered to a lie for 7 years, find people on both sides. If he could be tethered to that lie for 7 years, and people can't openly and honestly admit that a lot of stuff that's going on their side is just evil, they're destroying their lives and their family members. We've got 3 parents dead. 3 parents dead. We got this guy, and we got the other woman who worked for Blue Sky, killed her father on election night. And we got this kid killing his mom and dad. 3 people dead, putting their lives on the line, putting themselves in prison for life. And for what? We find out that Satanists, Nazis, radical leftists. Come on, folks. Keep out. I want to see all of them. Indivisible, keep them out there. Keep cutting those checks. Put them out there. Let us all see them. Let us see their faces. I want to see all of them protesting, getting all of this nonsense in order. I want to see them. I want to watch them. I want them out there, and I want them on camera, and I want them answering questions that they can't answer, still can't answer every day. Hey, why are you out here? Duh. Hey, what are you protesting? Duh. Hey, what's your grievance? Duh. Keep sending them out there. I want every kid to see it. I want it all on social media. TikTok, Blue, whatever, Horizon, whatever that nonsense is. The Facebooking and the Twittering and the Instagramming. I want it all there. Duh. I want everyone to see that evil. Just as they said in the movie Network, go to God. That's what I want people to do. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Very quiet on the roads. 8491, Route 2291, and 3 to 4, all moving very well. No issues in Middletown, 9 in the Aragoni Bridge. Waterbury looks real good, 84 and 8. If you're traveling into the New Haven area, 95 southbound, just some slow traffic, 46 down to 44. And traveling on the northbound side of the Parkway, just seeing some slow traffic, 59 in New Haven into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly sunny and warmer to kick off the week on our Monday afternoon. The high moving up to 69 today. Then tonight, occasional rain and drizzle. The low down to 48. Variably cloudy with a shower in spots on Tuesday. It'll be breezy. The high still 65 for us, so still quite mild. Partly cloudy. It'll be chilly Tuesday night with the low dropping down to 38. Now, cooler as we make our way into midweek. Mostly cloudy day Wednesday. Windy too. The high down to 51. Thursday, sunny, breezy, warmer. We're going to kick off that warming trend that'll last right into the weekend. The high moving up to 58 on Thursday. Friday, mostly cloudy but milder with the high up to 63. Cloudy, breezy, and warmer as we head into the weekend Saturday, though there'll still be a couple of showers around. But the high up to 73 for us on Saturday. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Mystic, Hamden, Putnam. When you want local news, turn to WTIC News Talk 1080, reporting on the local stories that affect you. From Manchester to Mystic, Hartford to Hamden, and Putnam to Plymouth, one radio station has your local news and breaking news as it happens. WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen on your radio, smart speaker, and on your phone with the free Odyssey app. And now, a WTIC News Update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. 13 Yukon students have had their visas terminated. No word as to why. All part of a wave of revocations of student visas across the country. The Yukon students consist of a dozen current students and one alum. 2 teens are under arrest, charged with murder in Hartford. Police say 17-year-old Siobhan Wilson was found Sunday morning with gunshot wounds. A 14 and a 16-year-old are now charged with felony murder. Pedestrian was struck and killed in Hartford over the weekend. Police say Beth Bosco was hit in her wheelchair near the overpass at Broad Street and Interstate 84. Police say the driver is cooperating with that investigation. State Senate Democratic leaders have written a letter to the Department of Labor. They're asking whether the department is prepared for the impact of federal layoffs and cuts, as well as any subsequent economic downturn going forward. Men who authorities say scaled the iron security fence in the middle of the night, eluded police, and broke into the Pennsylvania governor's residence where he set a fire, is now being treated at a hospital after an unrelated medical event. Authorities say Cody Balmer had planned to beat Governor Josh Shapiro with a small sledgehammer early Sunday. And we'll find out in a few hours where former UConn guard Paige Beckers will play as a pro. Beckers most likely will be the number 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft tonight, headed to the Dallas Wings. Of course, Beckers fresh off the UConn program's 12th NCAA championship just last week. On Wall Street, the Dow finished up 312 points today. The NASDAQ gained 107, and the S&P was up 42. Red Sox in Tampa Bay tonight on TIC. Pregame follows the 6 p.m. news. Yanks open a series at the stadium against their old friends, the Kansas City Royals, and the Mets are out in Minnesota to take on the Twins. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that. And often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make a change for the good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com. That's northeastmenshealth.com. We have 5 offices across the Northeast to serve you. Northeast Men's Health, a Promedic restorative health practice.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right...
In 10.
ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us. Happy 100th birthday, WTIC.
The women who
Happy
got her
birthday
outside
to
court
us.
in New York.
So you're going to see women, especially, that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man.
I love these idiots. Anyway, Trick Step, sorry that you joined us so late. There's so much stuff that we covered. I just watched the press conference during the break. I don't know if you got an opportunity to see it. The lawyer for Carmelo Anthony came out to talk about why the bond was lowered, or why he believed the bond should be lowered from $1 million to $250,000. Whether or not that bond will actually be paid still remains to be seen, is what he said. There were a couple of reporters there who were asking, I guess, pointed questions, usual narrative-based. One of the reporters asked, why did Carmelo have a knife at the track meet? Of course, wisely, the lawyer did not respond to that question, in as much to say that he didn't want to reveal the reason why, and knew that the prosecutors and the detectives were investigating that as well. A lot of people in the chat room, I didn't even bother to even listen to them. Let me say this: as I'm watching this press conference go on, and watching the comments, the live chat room comments as it's going on. I'm going to say something that I know people are going to identify with. And I hope it doesn't come to this. In my heart, I hope it doesn't. But I am starting to feel that Carmelo Anthony is going to be treated like the OJ trial. And I don't know if anyone had thought of that, but I'm starting to see that. Because this one, we know Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin. We know he did. And every witness was there, and that's the case. But there are people of the African-American community, of the black community, who are praying, hoping, and even suggesting that it was self-defense and that he should be let go. This is one of those cases. They're looking at it in that way. And I want to take you back to that day, and I'll do it briefly. You remember those television screens where people were outside, and it was one side of people were white, and the other side of people were African-American. And they had turned the death of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman into a racial issue when it clearly was just a domestic one. And when the verdict was read, you saw all of those white people, white women in particular, crying because they thought that a murderer was let go, where African Americans were cheering, yeah! Like this was their comeuppance from the writing. A lot of people said it today after, I just realized it's just after a year from O.J. Simpson's death. Many people in the news media were suggesting, after considering him a pariah, was saying that O.J. Simpson's acquittal was retribution for Rodney King. That's exactly what this case is going to be. I'm telling you, that's what this case is going to. That's the way they're going to make it. That's the way they're going to frame it. Mark my words. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Jason Catarina's got your weather, and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Where were you working in radio, if you were, Mark Christopher, during the OJ trial? I know you. I was before my radio career even began.
All right, it was 93-ish.
94.
I was here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you still doing traffic for that matter, or?
No, I started traffic in 96. I was jocking at that point.
Okay, so you were jocking.
Yeah.
Did you have to?
Well, no, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I was jocking, and I was jocking, and I was doing a thing called the Prize Patrol.
Okay.
And we would
on the street team.
We would. I was on the air, and I'd come up behind a car that had a bumper sticker on. I'd give the license plate, and if they waved, we'd give them prizes, and we gave away cars and boats, and we gave away a lot of stuff back in those days.
Did you ever?
I used to throw out 10,000 T-shirts a summer.
Wow,
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
We had 10,000 T-shirts every summer.
That's serious.
Amazing.
Did you ever have to talk about the whole OJ thing on trial? Did you have to talk about that on the air at all? Was that like a topic, or did you try to keep it light?
We had a guy, this is on TIC FM, we had a guy called Mikey Evans, and he lived in Palm Springs, and he covered the trial.
Oh, wow.
And, he covered the trial, and he gave us updates every day, which turned into sort of like a Hollywood report.
Yeah.
Where Mikey would do stations all over the country. He was covering the trial for a bunch of stations across the country. Our FM was one of the stations, which then that parlayed into like an entertainment report, which he did for many, many years.
Wow.
And he worked at I think he worked at K-Rock in L.A.
Isn't it weird that how that trial ended up like forging the careers of so many people?
Oh, I know. Seriously,
it's wild.
I still remember the Bronco day. I was with I think I was having dinner with an old girlfriend. We were down in like Stonington for her birthday, and we were just like, what the heck's going on here? And that Bronco chase just went on forever.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 8491, Route 2, 291, 384, all moving very well. Quiet Middletown, quiet Waterbury, 84 and 891 in the Parkway, moving well down toward New Haven. If you're traveling on the northbound side of the Parkway, we've got delays now as you move approaching exit 59 in New Haven up into the West Rock Tunnel. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
I was working at Kmart during the OJ trial. All right. Tonight, cloudy, occasional rain and drizzle late. The low down to 47. Breezy, variably cloudy. An afternoon thunder shower for our Tuesday. Gusty winds and small hail can accompany any downpour. The high 64. Partly cloudy. The low 39 tomorrow night. Then Wednesday, mostly cloudy, windy and cooler. The high 51. Milder as we head toward the end of the week. Thursday, sunny, breezy, warmer. The high 58. And mostly cloudy Friday. The high of 63. Currently, it is, that is Pennsylvania. Right now, it's 69 in Bristol, 66 in Mansfield, and 68 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Need dental implants? Columbia Dental's prosthodontic experts specialize in placing and restoring implants for a natural, confident smile. Open 7 days a week. Call 860-645-0111 or visit columbiadental.com.
Whether you're shaping up a small yard or tackling serious acreage, Steel walk-behind zero-turn and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow. Available at participating dealers.
Join us this Sunday for Tumalo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune into the father-son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumalo Financial, retirement planning with integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
At California Sun,
Come on a minute.
we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats? Well, the joy of early bedtime. And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, receive 20 minutes for just $20. So you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
John Beckman says OJ lived about a mile from him in Vegas, and he always kept. John says he always kept his head on a swivel. You're not a blonde woman, blonde, but not a woman. You're fine. Let's get to the phones and we end this stuff. If you want to call in and be the last but not least caller of the day, you will win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. Let's get to White Mike calling in from Florida. How we doing, sir?
So I saw a photo of the judge who reduced that little murdering savage's bond. He's putting up $25,000. Yeah, I'm not stoked, my friend.
Yeah, her name is Judge Angela Tucker of the 199th Judicial District Court. Now, again, just because she lowered it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to make it. I know there is a GoFundMe for Carmelo. I don't think that they're going to come up with it.
25 grand, bro. Let's put up 25 G's.
I know.
It's 10%. And how is he getting bond on first-degree murder?
I don't
care if he ever did it before. He's charged with first-degree murder, not manslaughter. So, again, bro, look, let me tell you what. I've come to an epiphany, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If your name starts with D or ends with Quan, and I'm on the jury, your ass is going to jail. Period. I don't care if you see nothing. You're going to jail.
I'm just letting you know. I don't. I know.
You're going.
Listen, I know. Listen, what do you think about my analysis that this is going to be treated like the OJ trial as far as the racial divide is concerned? Do you think that's an accurate? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course it is. And you tell me how this judge, Angela Tucker, is the first black judge in Collin County and a Republican. She's a black Republican, and she did this. So I'm not supposed to believe there's a racial component, that she's not letting him go because he's black.
Yeah. And I get
Rittenhouse had his happy ass in jail forever.
He sure did.
Kyle Rittenhouse didn't get bailed out.
And look, I do believe, I don't know what her motives are, right? And no one's going to ask her, so we never go. No, hear me out. I'm just saying. No one's going to ask her what her motives are. But I'm just asking you this, and I know you're going to completely dismiss it, but I'm going to ask, okay? If indeed, I'll give you the scenario. What if she's, in her mind, thought keeping him locked up at 17 years old inside the prison system may have made him susceptible to racial violence behind bars that he could not be protected from? What do you say to that to people who I know? Let me just come on without the poo-pooing. Listen, what would you say to that reasoning? I just want to know.
I say that's ridiculous because white people are far more in danger of racial violence in jail than anybody else, and nobody's letting white people out because Jamarcus and Jose might rape him in the shower.
Okay, fair enough. I just had to ask.
So, no, screw him. And I'm not kidding, dude. If I get called for jury duty, you're going to jail, Jamarcus. Straight up. I don't care if you got 8 people says you didn't do it. I'm sending you to jail. I'm going to give you the needle. Absolutely. I'm tired of this being nice person stuff.
I know.
If we can play tribalism, I'm going to be tribal.
I hear you. You know what? I told him, I said, sometimes you bring that on yourself. That's what people say. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. He's going on the deep end. I can't take him all the time. Mike is in Playville. How you doing, Mike?
Oh, my God. Brace yourself.
Like I said, I'm not going to listen to this story until it goes to trial. But go ahead.
I checked my mail Saturday morning, and lo and behold, I got a $40 refund check. Okay, get this, from the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Really? Wow. Wait, what do you get that check for?
My new car. I registered my new car, and I guess they prorated. They gave me kickback some money from my previous registration.
Oh, that's nice of them.
So I'm like, well, that's the first refund I've ever gotten from the state Department of Motor Vehicles.
Do you know what you do, right? You thank Trump.
No.
Just thank Trump.
You know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what. Now the news, I watched the news this weekend. It's like walking through a fun house. Now we had Gayle King in weightlessness. Can you imagine that? Gayle King being weightless?
Like I said, I don't know. Look, I don't know why this story was anywhere remotely relevant other than the fact that it is women in space. But, wisely, it was only for 11 minutes.
You know why they try to make it relevant? Because her and Oprah, they're buddies, and that where Gayle goes, Oprah goes, and that's everybody's there. Everybody's little darlings.
I don't understand why Oprah didn't go, and it should have been Gayle and Oprah going up in space. I don't know. Yeah. I appreciate you, sir. Let's go to Adam in East Hartford. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Reese. Thanks for always being a guy who never has a chip on his shoulder and loves everybody. And what I called about, it's ironic. Well, before I get to my topic, that area you were talking about, I've never been to West Virginia, but right now I'm not driving far distances until I fix this issue with my eyes. But,
okay.
But what I want to tell you, that area, that Delaware Water Gap, that Route 80, that Route 81.
Okay, so, it's Interstate 81, or we like to call it the 81 corridor that goes from West Virginia all the way down to Virginia. And that corridor, there's a place called Falling Waters. It's not a northern region, but it's one of the most northern regions before you end up in Maryland again. But Falling Waters, West Virginia, is a quiet little town, small little town, but it's beautiful. Everything about it is beautiful. It's nothing but mountain ranges and trees, no matter where you go. And it is just, you can go there, stay at a hotel. Everything is cabin-like. It's It's idyllic and personal, and personable, I should say. And the people are so sweet, so nice. It's a great place to eat, meet people, talk to old timers.
Even if I take a bus, I'll get down there. But the other thing too, have you ever been to the Delaware Water Gap when you're rounding that highway? See the humps and those curves and those little rounded mountains. It's very, very scenic area.
Still scares the hell out of me. In fact, I went through that area twice. I've gone through that area in a truck. That was difficult. I was in a 26-foot truck. Another time, I was going through another area. That was a whole different story. But anyway, get to your topic. That's a long thing. I'll go into that all day. What was your topic?
Back in the 84, when the Celtics were playing the Lakers a lot, and I was in the Air Force at Eglin Air Force Base, and we were in the dormitory. It was sad that it was divided this way, that we had the second, and third floor TVs, and the second floor, one floor would be blacks were watching cheering on the Lakers, and one floor of the whites were cheering on the Celtics. And it's sad that there was division like that, huh?
Hey, listen, and again, I would look at that and I would go, compare it to today, where you go to a Buffalo Wild Wings and you wouldn't even see anything remotely close to that. Yeah, it would be unheard of. Let me get to some others. Thank you, Adam. Next up is James in Newington. How are you, James?
Hey, good to hear you, Reese. You know, I want to pick up exactly on that gentleman you were talking about who attacked the Pennsylvania mansion for the governor.
Yeah.
It comes down to what they don't tell us about him.
Exactly.
When I did the research today, what did I find out? Well, we all know he looks like Charles Manson, crazy as a loony nut, right?
Right.
He's got 2 previous convictions for forgery in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently waiting for trial on an assault charge.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2022, he posted, ready, a Molotov cocktail, a meme, about attacking something, which again is what he did in the governor's mansion. He filled up 2 beer bottles with gasoline.
Correct.
And he was under the impression that somehow Biden had done him wrong and owed him $2,000. And he also wrote that he wants everyone to, quote unquote, I want the phrase burn it down, but show the light of the fire of who you are. So if the news media had reported simply that he was a nut,
right,
and, you know, looking at his history, he's on effectively what we would call no bail,
right,
while waiting to be charged. If we finally just started putting some of the criminals that the Democrats adopted the no bail release,
no cash bond,
policy, they never link it. None of these crimes would have happened.
Exactly. It's a very good point. And look, I think you stated in the opening about it, every detail is in the stuff that they don't ask. And let me tell you why. I know this for certain, and I know it on both sides. When you hear Josh Shapiro's home had been firebombed, I don't care what. If you are a political animal, there's a degree of nervousness that a lot of people feel. They immediately go, God, I hope he's not one of ours. I know that's what they say. Now, I really don't care, but because I know I'm not going to defend anybody who does anything ridiculous, and nor have I ever, so I don't care. Nobody's going to call me up and says, well, defend that guy. I'm like, you don't even ask me that. I'm not going to defend him. So, but I know there are people who immediately go to their collective or their protective sides, and they go, please don't let it be our guy. And then you hear the news media stay absolutely silent about his political leanings, and then you go, well, that's all I know. That's all I need to know. He clearly is a leftist, a radical leftist, and the worst off, why was he going after Ben Shapiro slip. Why was he going after Josh Shapiro during Passover? Because he's an anti-Semite.
Well, the other thing, Reese, Reese, the thing I would also mention to you is when it comes to the Molotov cocktails, we forget that during Black Lives Matter, they were catching people. Do you remember when New York City, they caught those couple of high-end Democrat lawyers who were working on Wall Street?
Yep.
And they were like, the young liberal radicals literally going around and passing out Molotov cocktails out of a minivan?
That's right.
And yet, did the Biden administration charge them with terrorism?
Nope.
No. They got their cases worked all the way down. I'm sure they're already out by now.
Oh,
but this is the thing. a massive double standard when it comes to political crime. They encourage it on one side. Antifa, the people who were throwing Molotov cocktails in Portland at the courthouse, why aren't they in prison for 20 years? And the answer is because it's only news if they think they can link it to some nutcase who happened to like a Fox News post 5 years ago.
You know what? It's so interesting. People keep forgetting, and this is the association that always boggles the mind. Do you remember when Donald Trump did the infamous Bible picture? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. If I were to ask you just randomly, why was Donald Trump walking to the church to do the picture with the Bible? Where was he walking from? Do you remember?
I believe he was walking from the White House.
That's
to
correct.
Go,
That's correct. He walked across the street. And the reason why he walked across the street is because the church across the street had been firebombed. Why was that church firebombed? Because there was a protest outside of the White House that ended up causing these rabble-rousers to burn down the church next door across the street. And the White House and the First Family had to be ushered into the shelter at the White House because there were people outside who were trying to breach the White House, quote unquote, an insurrection that no one talks about.
And they never will.
Exactly. Never. When I tell people about that, I was like, what about the firebombing that took place across the street from the White House when they tried to breach the White House? People go, when did that happen? I'm like, really? There's a reason why. No one in the mainstream media covered it. You had to go to the Daily Signal and you had to go to the UK Daily Mail in order to read any stories about it because the American news media failed to, on purpose, to even cover it. It's always the case. Thank you. Hold on, James. Stay on the line. We're going to make you our last but not least caller of the day. Courtesy of Between Rounds, your bagel, bakery, and sandwich cafe. Y'all be good. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning. So plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Jason Caterina's got your weather. Clean up on aisle 7, Jason. And Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. He was working at Kmart during the OJ trial. Like, Kmart. Wow. I have to give credit to Richard A. Richard A. said, clean up on aisle 7 when he heard that. But damn, Jason Caterina was a baby working at Kmart.
There you go. Hey, and make sure you wear your helmet tonight on your bike ride.
Oh,
And,
no. We're not doing that.
What, no helmet?
No. Have you seen Barack Obama with a helmet on? I'm not that guy. It's not happening. No. If we
No,
fall
wear your
down, we're
helmet
getting a concussion. It's for the radio. We talk about it on the radio.
All right. Well, if it's good for ratings, I guess don't wear a helmet then. Hey, if you're heading into Hartford right now, 8491, Route 2, 291, 384, all moving well. Quiet Middletown. Waterbury looks good, 84 and 8. 91 in the park.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Traffic and weather together on the
And we'll see you mañana.
WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yes, sir.
WTIC weather.
Where is he?
Cloudy tonight with a...
Don't ride like Biden. I promise you I will not. I thought about that several times, Lori. Don't get me started. I was like, one of those things. Tilting over. I promise you, I will not ride a bike. My bike isn't too big. It's actually it's perfect. Actually, it feels perfect. You know how some bikes will give you that pain in the lower back because you're hunched over? I'm not hunched over. It was the perfect bike to get. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you mañana. Actually, let's look at the Boston Red Sox schedule. I got this sitting up here. And what are we at? March, April. Let me see. Monday. That's today. Nope. What's today's date? Today's date is is this March? April? Okay, there we go. Today's the 14th. Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is all late night all week. Okay, so we're not going to be interrupted all week. All right, good to go. All right. That's good. All right. I love you guys. Be good to each other. And 14. Yeah. Go to Predict It. You called it, Reese. Predictive programming of juveniles able to be charged in Connecticut ties right into this story. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Thank you, sir. All right, you guys be good. Love you.